we're going live in a hot minute. What's up, guys? What's up? Just checking everything out real quick before we go live. Bear with me. Be about 60 seconds. Then we're going to go ahead and go live. All right, let's see here. We'll make sure this is ready to go. Everything looks pretty good. All right, let's check this out here. That looks good. Now, see, what I'm curious is what's going on with the thumbnail for this go round. Is the thumbnail going to work with me this time? Let's see. There we go. Right, let's save that. And let's see if that'll work. Yeah, all right, let's do it. We got a show.
Warning, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Yes, for Monday night of January 11th, 2021. Lee Sanders here. You're checking out an all-new The RCWR Show, covering the latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. What's up? This is actually the first new episode of The RCWR Show that we're dropping for 2021, as I was due back last Monday, but I went on an extended break. I mean, when you really think about it in retrospect, and you actually did watch Raw last week, I think we can all be in agreement. There really wasn't anything to talk about last Monday. So actually, if you missed it, I actually did a special Tuesday night live edition of Impact Showdown. I was talking about Impact Wrestling Fallout and everything. And I remember saying to you guys, I was going to be checking out the Genesis pay-per-view. I talked about possibly doing a post-show. Did not do the post-show, so I actually am going to be talking about the Genesis pay-per-view later on tonight. It was a Genesis pay-per-view exclusive on Impact Plus. And honestly, if you had the Impact Plus app, it didn't cost you a thing. All you had to do was just download the Impact Plus app, check it out on your Roku, whatever respective platform/device, and you would have been able to watch it for free. So if you missed out on it, hey, you picked a good night to check out the show, because I'm definitely going to be talking about that special pay-per-view event. Normally I have a poll up asking you guys, what did you think about this week's Monday Night Raw? But I think for this week only, we don't really need to get into the whole poll thing. Look, overall, I would say it was a bit of a decent episode. I would say I enjoyed it, honestly. If I got to be real with you all, let's be 1,000. I enjoyed tonight a bit more than what we got last week on that Legends edition. Got to be totally honest with you. Look, I'd hate to be sitting here right now and just going through 2 reviews of Monday Night Raw. But look, in a nutshell, for those of you that might be just a little bit curious, just my overall thoughts on that Legends edition that they did last week. Look, I've been saying this for years. Years I've been saying it on this show. They need to shake up the whole when the Legends pop up on Raw, SmackDown, mainly on the Raw show. They gotta shake it up big time. I'm sorry, but I've gotten to that point. Actually, sorry, not sorry. I've gotten to that point where I'm getting a little bit tired of just seeing my man Farouk/Ron Simmons is just there, and he just has the look on his face, and it's just, damn, 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 damn. You know, it's like, hey, I don't hate the brother. I got nothing personal against Ron Simmons. Get that money. Yes, get that money. Wait a minute. You gonna fly me out here, and I'm going to be on TV for about maybe 30 seconds at most. All I gotta do is just say one word, and I'm getting paid? Oh yeah, please sign me up. Sign me up. I mean, if that was any one of us, we'd be like all over that shit, no doubt. But just from a creative standpoint, just the past couple of years that they've been doing these legend editions, or as I've liked to call them, the emergency breaking of the glass because our ratings are in the shit and we got to do something that's going to shake things up and have people excited, at least for 1 week. Buy us a little bit of time so we can try to figure out what rabbit we're going to pull out of our hat or ass next. Yeah, that in case of an emergency, break this glass. That's how it's been coming off the past couple of years. It's been coming off very cheaply desperate. That's the nicest way and bluntest way I can put it. And I, for one, am getting a little bit sick and tired of it. I damn sure am getting... Look, now, you hear me complain. And some of you may say, okay, well, that's good with the complaints. Okay, but how do we shake it up? What do we do? It's quite simple. I don't see what is so damn hard about if you're going to do a Legends Edition. Number one, don't do a Legends Edition because, oh my God, our ratings are in the shitter. We've got the lowest fucking rated episode of Raw of all time. It's hitting a new low. We got to, first of all, don't exploit it as a cheap emergency tactic. Do it almost like your yearly Vince McMahon coming out, we're gonna shake things up, in that type of fashion. So if you do it, let's say, okay, so in this instance, they did it on a January to essentially kick off the new year. Okay, well, you know what? You let January be the month. No matter what, you let January always be that respected month. Legends. There's going to be at some point during January, you know there's going to be a Legends edition of Monday Night Raw. So that's the first thing. And honor it, stick to it. No matter what, no matter what's going on with your ratings, just stick to the freaking script. Easier said than done, right? But in a perfect world, that's what you would do. Second of all, have some fun with it. I mean, me personally, I would love to see the superstars of today. You hear all these interviews that they give, talk about a lot of these wrestlers that they grew up idolizing. For some of these wrestlers that's on the roster right now, they got into the business because of these wrestlers that they grew up on. So to be in a position where they could see these guys that they grew up on for one night, they're heroes, they're idols for one night. Gee, I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool if we saw some of these wrestlers dress up as some of their favorite superstars. What is so hard about that? If you're really going to let it be a Legends type theme of an episode, then I say go all balls out. Don't just have these legends just show up either. Do nice little cool video packages. And I'm not saying you got to spam out with the video packages all night, but you definitely got to, easier said than done, but you definitely got to educate those fans that are newer, younger wrestling fans that may not be hip to these cats that they're seeing for perhaps the very first time. So you definitely got to approach it from those standpoints. I think we all could be in agreement of that. Not to mention, please plug the hell out of the WWE Network. If you know you're going to be doing something on these Legends, you're going to be doing a Legends edition of Raw or Legends edition of SmackDown. There's nothing wrong, especially if you're doing it 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out especially. There's nothing wrong with doing some type of a compilation playlist on some of the main attractions that fans are going to be able to tune into. It's a win-win situation because you have those fans that are into the WWE product. You're keeping them in the loop as far as being tuned in to your WWE network. You feel me? All right, so they're checking out the content. You know, add new playlists. If you can get some of these legends to actually be the hosts of that playlist, you know what would be pretty cool? If you knew that Ron Simmons was going to be popping up on the Legend edition of Raw, how badass would it be to see for about an hour Ron Simmons highlight some of his greatest matches or whatever. That would be really freaking cool. Or if you're going to see Alondra Blaze pop up or insert whatever name you want to pop up, I think that would be pretty cool. Hey, for the WWE subscribers that are paying what they're paying monthly for the network, to tell them that they're going to be able to see stuff like that, hey, makes them feel even worth more the while of, hey, my dollar is really, this isn't wasted money. I'm not just spending this money that's just going towards checking out a pay-per-view, and maybe once in a blue moon I'm checking out Stone Cold's Broken Skull sessions. You gotta have better marketing strategy. I mean, when you just really kind of, it's that easy. It's that easy. And trust me, I know a thing or two about marketing. I worked in marketing/marketing research for 10 years, right? So I organize focus groups, the things that many households take for granted that they don't even think about, to movies that they're seeing in the theaters, to TV shows getting the green light, cars being put out there, new cell phones, new software, you name it, the things that you guys don't even think about. I worked for a top Fortune 500 company that was organizing groups like that. A lot of those I'd be a moderator for. So trust me, I know exactly what I'm talking about here. But hey, probably never, ever going to happen. But it's wishful thinking, isn't it? But that's, in a nutshell, what I thought about the Legends edition from last week. So for me personally, yeah, that was kind of rough to watch. This week, I actually enjoyed a little bit better. I tell you what was the carrot, hook, line, and sinker for me. And it was actually hours before Raw had came on tonight. Of course, everybody that's got some form of social media saw the message that WWE put out there. I just happened to be off today. I'm always off on Mondays. So for me, kicking back, doing a little bit of show prepping here and there, but I'm mainly just binging on non-wrestling related stuff. I see the news about Drew McIntyre being diagnosed with COVID. Now, luckily, knock on wood, he doesn't have any of the COVID symptoms. Knock on wood for that. And heaven forbid you get the COVID and you do have those symptoms. Mick Foley, I don't think you all are aware of it, but me and Tammy, we actually talked about Mick Foley having COVID and a whole bunch of other stuff on Wrestling with the Topics. We actually did that episode last week for our Patreon audience. So if you guys aren't part of our Patreon familia, do sign up. $5 a month, get access to boatloads content. Patreon.com/RCWR show. But we talked at great length about Mick Foley coming down with the COVID. And we talked about, okay, when exactly do we think he possibly got this? And we both speculated perhaps it went down, maybe, on that Legends edition. No, actually, no, he wasn't on the Legends edition. We were talking about something that happened leading up to Undertaker and the farewell. I think Survivor Series 2020. That's what we were talking about. And we speculated if maybe Mick Foley had got the COVID right around that time period and everything. But we did kind of allude to the fact that, okay, is it possible there might be more COVIDs within WWE coming about? And we both kind of came to the same conclusion. Yeah, it's possibly going to happen. Now, we didn't go a step further and say, do we think something's going to come out of the Legends coming together and all that? Like we saw from last week, we didn't go that far. But if you did check out the episode, you definitely could kind of tell the path we were on. We definitely were concerned. So to hear of all people, Drew McIntyre has come down with COVID. Hey, it sucks, but at least he doesn't have any of the symptoms. For those of you that are wondering what exactly are the symptoms, I would say, Google it, bitch, to quote Paul Heyman. But in all seriousness, just to kind of give you a summarized bullet point version: loss of taste, loss of smell, hearing is a little bit off, loss of appetite, nauseating. In some cases, people are vomiting, sweating profusely. You would think that it's kind of right up there with a common cold, but it's really not. It's really, really not. And anybody that has actually had COVID and has actually had the symptoms that I'm talking about, they can tell you it's not something that you want to get. And in many cases, like Drew McIntyre, there are people that are running around that have the COVID, don't even know anything about it until they get diagnosed. So Drew McIntyre is on quarantine for the next 14 days. So for me, the carrot dangled over my head when I saw this news on social media. How exactly are they going to address Drew Goldberg at Royal Rumble? Is this match still on? Or are we going to be going in a different direction? I didn't want to read too much into it, but part of me was under the impression, well, do we have to have Drew defend the title at the Royal Rumble? Not really. Can we get around Drew this go round to buy him even more time and really let him rest up and everything? Because we really, really need him for that road to WrestleMania stretch. Can we buy him a little bit of time? Because Lord knows we're overstacked with great talent as it is, stretched across all the rosters. So part of me was under the impression that, well, yeah, why not? Why not? Perfect world, perfect scenario. You let Drew rest up, bring Drew back in February, first week of February, or bring him back after the Super Bowl, whatever. But then the question that's asked, what do you do with Bill Goldberg? I thought about that and freestyle thinking. I didn't need to, you know me by now when it comes to these shows, especially when I have an idea in my head. I don't need to write shit down. I have bullet points in my head, but other than that, everything just flows in one take. Didn't have to spend that much time thinking about it. I said, well, you know what? We had Bill Goldberg last week, and boy, what an awkward fucking promo that was between he and Drew. That was so fucking awkward. And now we've learned a little bit more information about how that awkward moment came to be and everything. But yeah, look, I don't know how often Bill Goldberg checks out the WWE product. I don't. I don't know how often he checks out the WWE product. But if I were WWE, and I'm not, but if I were WWE, I would make a suggestion to some of these talents, and look, for some, they already know. You don't even need to tell them. They already know. But for some talents, I would say, okay, look, do me a favor. Leading up to you popping up on Monday, leading up to you popping up on Friday, we got you doing this little spot here, this little talking segment. Leading up to it, just check out the last 2 episodes of Raw. Check out the last 2 episodes of Insert. So you can get a really good feel for what's going on with this specific character. Right? That way you know what's going on. Because I have the strongest feeling in my bones that if Goldberg really did watch the product, at least the last 2 Raws, he would have walked into that segment with Drew knowing, okay, I can't talk to Drew like he's a heel because everything that's come about with him, just a little bit that I've seen, he is a straight up babyface. So, all right, I got to make sure I come at this from the right angle. But instead, the promo that Goldberg cut on Roman Reigns, I know a lot of people are going, I'm sorry, not Roman Reigns, but the promo that Bill Goldberg cut on Drew McIntyre. I know a lot of people are going, yeah, Drew shouldn't have gotten that promo. Goldberg should have given that promo to Roman Reigns. Well, not for nothing, boys and girls, but the first name that actually popped up in my mind, was actually Randy Orton. Go back and look one more time. Look at that episode of Monday Night Raw. All night long, you had Randy Orton making fun of all the legends, trying to egg them on, trying to get a fight all out of them. We saw him embarrass the hell out of Mark Henry, embarrass the hell out of the Big Show. I mean severely picked the hell out of Ric Flair. You're looking at this, and anybody that's looking at this is saying to themselves, what's the payoff here? He's egging these guys on all night long. Who's going to be that guy that's going to challenge him to a match, try to kick his ass? What's going on here? And I tell you something. A lot of people didn't even go in this direction. I did not see one person even mention this guy's name on social media. And I was the only guy that was thinking about this. And as it stands, I've yet to see anybody mention this guy's name. But I thought that the way things were going with Orton egging everybody on, I thought perhaps of all people, Carlito Colon was going to get in Randy Orton's face, challenge him to a fight, get his ass handed to him, but at least he stood up for the legends. Didn't happen. We didn't see Carlito. So I said, okay, well, you know what? Him egging all these other guys on, okay, where's the payoff here? What's going on here? And to see that nothing happened in regards to Orton. Nothing happened with Orton. You're going, okay, well, that's kind of WTF. What the hell? So if there was anybody that Goldberg should have gotten in the face of and say, hey, I see how you are, how you're disrespecting all of these legends. Yeah, right promo. Wrong guy, obviously. You had the guy on the roster. But it didn't work out that way for whatever respected reason. I know everybody's going, Goldberg, Roman, Goldberg, Roman, Goldberg, Roman, Goldberg, Roman. Guys, that's going to happen. Chill. 2 cents from a distance, that match will happen. I got it happening at WrestleMania. Chill. Enjoy the scenic route. We're going to get there. What's going on with Roman Reigns over on SmackDown right now, especially the way they've been able to just sneak Adam Pearce in there and everything. Love it. Love it. Now, I'm not going to say I've been a long-time fan of Adam Pearce, but I've checked out enough of his work over the years to be a fan of his. And I'm happy that he's getting this opportunity that he's getting because he's one of the best, hands down, most underrated talents that's out there. There are certain guys that I look at from the days of ROH and made their statement, made their stamp known on the indies that I say, man, if only this guy could have gotten an opportunity in the WWE. And for me, Adam Pearce, one of those guys, near the top of my list. Still at the very top of my list, Nigel McGuinness. And if y'all didn't check out his WWE documentary special, check it out when you guys get a chance. But yeah, that's where my head is. We'll get there with Roman and Goldberg. But for now, we're talking about Drew and Goldberg. Okay. Drew's got COVID. He's out for at least 2 weeks. Surely WWE is just going to let him rest and maybe bring him back after the Royal Rumble. Bring him back after Super Bowl or whatever. First week in February or whatever. They're going to bring him back. No. Apparently, from what we found out tonight on Monday Night Raw, Drew will be in the house at the Royal Rumble. He will be in action. He will take on Goldberg. Because then the question becomes, okay, well, what's going to happen with that challenge that Goldberg put out there? Drew accepted the challenge in storyline, so Drew and Goldberg are still on for the Royal Rumble. Look, that match is what it is. Look, my 2 cents from a distance. WWE's... Look, is it a bit heartbreaking? I think that's a poor choice of words, but some people may feel heartbroken. Disappointment, I think, is the word that most people have on their mind, because most people are looking at Goldberg. They've looked at his past handful of efforts, and they aren't particularly fond of Goldberg. I totally respect that. I get it. Seriously, I fucking get it. At the same time, you got to look at it from a business perspective. WWE needs to get back all their money and then some that they've given Goldberg with this extraordinarily pricey contract that they've given him. He's got at least 2 to 3 matches for the next couple of years, I believe up until 2023 or 2024. So they gotta start getting some of that back. Now, I know some guys are hearing that and still it's, but we really don't need Goldberg. I agree. But this is the bid that WWE has made for themselves. They've got nobody to blame but themselves. This is the hand that they've dealt themselves. I can promise you this much. Once Bill Goldberg's contract is up in that 2023, 2024, and by then he's going to be what? Hey Siri, how old is Bill Goldberg? Is he like 53 right now?
Bill Goldberg is 54 years old.
Really? Bill Goldberg's 54 right now? That can't be right. Hey Google, how old is Bill Goldberg? Is he really 54? I thought he was 53. Oh, that's funny. Siri remembers Goldberg's information, but Google just told me I don't know Bill Goldberg's age, but if you tell me his age, I can remember it from here on out. All right, so apparently he's 54. All right, so what? That's going to put him at, in 2023, 55, 56 going on 57 by the time 2023, 2024 rolls around. So, look, I don't see WWE continuing to pay astronomical dollars for Bill Goldberg to continue doing these 2 to 3 matches a year. I don't see that happening. I think this is one and done as far as this new deal that they've got with Goldberg. Once it's reached its peak, once it's reached its expiration, I think that's it. Truly, I think that's it. So we got to deal with this for what it's worth. Look, I hope that both men, I know Drew will. I guess I should really say I hope Bill Goldberg, and part of me in the back of my mind knows that Bill Goldberg is going to be training his ass off. He's going to do the very best in a quick turnaround to make sure that he's good to go for this match and everything. But if there's one thing that we've learned, especially from the recent Goldberg documentary special, Goldberg, as much as he likes to give back, and he's in a much better place right now. He seems like a better, decent human being than he was years prior. He's definitely more reflective on how he should have handled things. He admitted that, pretty much in a nutshell, he got way too much too soon as far as the maturity level and all that goes. But look, that's great if Bill Goldberg is going to be getting himself in shape. But as we all know, his cardio at certain points, longer a match goes, right? So look, I'm knocking on wood, literally. I'm knocking on wood for Bill Goldberg. I'm hoping that he and Drew can do pretty good. I really do. But that doesn't mean that in the meantime, I gotta like what's going on. It doesn't mean that. I'm not really feeling it. I think we could have gone in other directions, preferably with the talent that's already there. But look, man, when it's all said and done, we know the game that WWE has been playing for years now. WWE, when it comes to their main 4 attractions of pay-per-view events, the Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, they bring out all the ruckus. They pull all the stops. They try to make sure that they got as many eyeballs on the product as much as humanly possible. There is that nostalgia factor that is there with Bill Goldberg that WWE is hoping that they can continue to capitalize on and everything. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens in a couple of weeks. That's all I got to say. We'll see what happens in a couple of weeks. Other than that, talk about some other key points. Triple H was in the house. Of course, Triple H being there, we're wondering, well, what's he doing here? Does this have to do with Drew McIntyre and the championship? Like, what exactly is Triple H here for? Triple H kicking off the show. Sadly, we never did find out why Triple H was there. Maybe we'll get to find out, I don't know, later this week or next week. But we never did get that definitive why was Triple H in the house. As he got interrupted by Randy Orton. As far as Randy was concerned, this was a legend that he was looking at. And so, having a few words there with Triple H, egging Hunter on. This pretty much leads to a challenge Randy Orton put out to H to face him yet again. Fun trivia for you guys. Take a gander. Take a little ponder real quick. Can you guess without looking online? Don't look online right now. Shout out to those of you that's going to be watching this on demand. Don't look this up. But just, I'll give you 30 seconds to think about it. I'll buy you some time. Can you count how many times Triple H and Randy Orton have faced one another? Just think about that for about 30 seconds. I'll take a nice little swig of this beer. Tonight's beer of choice, by the way. Please be 21 years of age or older and make sure you drink responsibly. Checking out a new IPA here. Flying Dogs Gonzo Imperial Porter. Good IPA, man. Damn good shit. 10% as far as the proof goes and all that. Not too shabby. Or rather, 10% alcohol, I should say. 10% alcohol. It's not that bad. It's actually pretty damn good. I'll show you guys the design here. And as many of you guys know, especially if you're a long-time listener, I'm big into my IPAs here. Big into my IPAs. Good shit here. Let me just move it more right here. Actually, wait a minute. I think I had it right the first time. There we go. I got it right the first time. And let me just turn that label. There you go. Now you guys can really see it there. They got some cool ass artwork design. So, did you guess the number? I will give you guys the correct number. Randy Orton and Triple H have faced each other in some shape or form a total of 62 times. 62 times. Now, out of those 62 times, there was a lot of variations. And what I mean by that is there was multiple opponents that were involved in those matches. Strip those away and just get it down to Triple H, Randy Orton. Leading into tonight's brawl, they faced each other a total one-on-one 17 times. Now include what they did tonight, 18 times. But going into tonight, it stood at 17. So some fun trivia for you guys. I just like little trivia shit like that. You never know when it might come in handy. Just saying, you never know when it might come in handy. Shout out if you remember the last time that the two faced one another. So you knew you weren't going to get that much between these two men fighting each other. This was a brawl. You go to 10:53 p.m. on the East Coast. So you're looking at the clock right now. You're going, okay, we got about 7 minutes to go until straight up Steve Austin comes on. Not really going to be much we're going to be getting right here. I guess enjoy it for what it's worth. Whatever. We get the full entrances out of the way. The guys are brawling for a hot little bit. Raw pretty much closes with Triple H fighting his trademark, I want to meet your sledgehammer, setting that son of a bitch on fire. I mean, he's getting ready to do some medieval shit on Randy. All of a sudden, the lights go out. Randy Orton, dazed, staggering, wondering where the hell Hunter is. You know, as he sees what's getting ready to come at him, as Hunter has the fucking hammer blazing fire, lights go out, come back on, Triple H is gone. Alexa Bliss standing in the middle of the ring, or actually in one corner of the ring. Randy is actually standing in the middle of the ring. And Randy just has this dumbfounded, puzzled look on his face. Obviously, not done with the Fiend just yet. All right, that's a message right there. Alexa Bliss lifts her left hand and she puts it under her chin, and there's actually some words written on her hand. It reads pain. And the next thing you know, Randy, as he's reading this, still a little bit puzzled what's going on with Alexa there, he does slowly approach her with great trepidation. Next thing you know, you got Alexa Bliss throwing a goddamn fireball in Randy Orton's face. Randy Orton screaming his ass off, and you got Raw that pretty much goes off just like that. That's how Raw goes off. It is what it is. I mean, we got to make room for an all-new straight-up Steve Austin. Look, I hope that's going to be a pretty good season. I really wish that they would have kicked it off with Charlotte Flair. I'm most curious to see, because I actually had looked at, bear with me a second here. Let me actually look at who the first guest was. Yeah, actually, I'm still looking at it. The first guest is Luke Combs. Now, for some of these guests, sadly, some fans are like, well, I don't know exactly who some of these people are here. Can I get a little bit of a 411? Like most people don't know. Now, I just happen to know who Luke Combs is. I'm not familiar with his discography, but I know he's a country singer. He's put a couple of hits out there. I know that much. But the next fan ain't gonna know that. So I kind of wish that they would have had a wrestling connection really kick it off. It's kind of interesting when I stop and think about it, because I'm not trying to spend several minutes on this, but I think you guys kind of understand where I'm coming from here. I mean, just kind of stop and think about it. You got Steve Austin, great relationship that he's having with the WWE once again here. And you would just think that, I must admit, it's been kind of odd. Yeah, USA has been promoting the Steve Austin show, but I haven't really seen a lot of love on WWE RAW really hyping it up and all that. If there was ever a way to really bridge that gap there of having your wrestling fans tune in to straight up Steve Austin, and vice versa, I don't know. I just think it's kind of weird. But now that I've said that, just peep that out from here on out. There's hardly any cross promoting that's going on there, at least from WWE's point. But yeah, I will say this, just based off the guests that Steve Austin has so far for this season, I'm looking forward to the Charlotte one. That should be good. Speaking of Charlotte, that's a good segue. Ice-T. Who else does he have on there this season? I'm trying to think about some of the other names that he's got on there. Tiffany Haddish. That should be good. Who else? Doesn't he have Brett Favre on there this season? I think he's got Brett Favre on there this season. So, I mean, he's got a nice, good roundabout. I mean, he is 180 all over the place. So I like that. It's actually pretty good. Speaking of Charlotte having a rematch there, so to speak, against Lacey Evans. Actually enjoyed that match. Those girls did pretty damn good. As far as matches of the night, what really had me entertained, I definitely was getting into it. I gotta give it up to Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair. I did like that. And shout out to those of you that saw Joker. I finally watched it for the first time over the weekend. And wouldn't that be something? That's all I gotta say. Wouldn't that be something with regards to Charlotte and Lacey? Just as far as the storyline. If you guys saw Joker, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, just apply that one little aspect from Joker to Lacey and Charlotte. I mean, that would be kind of, if we were to go in that direction. You feel where I'm coming from? Not to put any spoilers out, because I know there's a lot of people that actually still have not seen the Joker movie. My girl was mad at me too. She goes, I wanted to watch that with you. We were supposed to watch that together. I said, we will. We will, but it's not going to be the same. I'm like, I know, but if it makes you feel any better, I do want to actually watch it again. I mean, it was that damn good. Trust me, you'll love it. I want to watch it again anyway. So, I was kind of tired when I was watching it, but I definitely remember every frame that what a masterpiece. I got to tell you, what a masterpiece. If you recently had signed up for HBO Max because you wanted to check out the new Wonder Woman sequel, and you didn't get a chance to check out the Joker movie, you'll thank me later. Check it out. Masterpiece. But Lacey Evans, Charlotte going at it once again. Lacey Evans getting the upset thanks in large part to Ric Flair. Ric Flair causing some interference in there, and just watching Lacey Evans kind of kissing up to Ric Flair. Ric Flair just strutting his stuff. And I'm liking this. I'm liking where this is going, because the most simplistic storyline is just right there in your face. You got Charlotte Flair that is making her dad, hurt his ego for one, right? Hurt his ego for one, and expects for this older man, much older man, to go wither away at home somewhere and just whatever. Whatever. And here he is, essentially, okay, you kick me to the side, right? You think you're gonna fucking punk me out on national TV? Okay, you gonna take me to task? Okay, nah, I'm gonna show you who the dirtiest player in the game is. I'm gonna show you some real fucking tough love. I like this interesting dynamic that's going on right now. And I gotta tell you, the pairing of Lacey and Ric Flair, I'm actually loving it so far. I do. I'm loving it so far. I mean, but there's so many directions that we can go with this one. Again, that nice little nod reference I did with Joker. That's one area in storyline you could potentially go if you wanted to, or you can go in the direction of Rick is blinded by this younger woman. By the way, what does his wife, who's younger, have to say about what's going on here? But in storyline, of course, what does his wife have to say? Because I mean, it's well documented, based on some of the documentaries we've seen of Ric Flair and his new wife and everything, and it's like, there's something there if you really wanted to make it be a true family affair. That's all I'm saying. So that's an interesting dynamic that you got. Another interesting dynamic that you got is in storyline is Ric Flair so blinded by this young, hot piece of tail. Just the way she's making him feel and all of that, he's going to be blinded by that. But this whole process, during this whole time, Lacey is essentially using Ric Flair to get what she wants. Like, what is the big payoff for Lacey aligning herself with Ric Flair? You can't just let it be a case of just to continue to get the one-ups on Charlotte. There's got to be the ultimate payoff to this. I dare say, boys and girls, I think we're beginning to see the start of a really beautiful relationship between Lacey and Flair that I would hope culminate in Lacey becoming your Raw Women's Champion. I think it very well could happen. We kind of got to a period there where we're wondering, Asuka, she's getting kind of ice cold there as the Raw Women's Champion. Who could possibly be the one to take it off of her? And I dare say, I think Lacey Evans could be that one. I think she really could be that one. I'm still not quite a fan of the whole Southern Belle gimmick, but it is a nice throwback. I'm not a fan of it for the simple fact, I know for younger fans, it doesn't really resonate. It doesn't click more. If this was something that we got from the Memphis Territory days back in the day and all that, I mean, that would be one thing. If we were back in the whole 80s wrestling, as you all know, that are, wrestling historians in a way yourselves, you all know that wrestling in the 80s was big on and characters, you know, real colorful, cartoonish characters. I mean, yeah, she fits that fucking glove perfectly, but somehow she's been able to make it to work somehow. And doesn't hurt that she has a banging body on top of that to make it work as well. But yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the end result. And then once Lacey gets to that top of the mountain, has that women's championship, that's when she's essentially going to show her true colors and essentially kick Ric Flair to the curb. But I dare say, I'd be shocked if that's not the direction that we're going to be going right now. Now, if you were to ask me straight up, when do I see Lacey Evans becoming the new Raw Women's Champion? Good question. I would say, what is it, January right now? We got Royal Rumble in a couple of weeks. If it doesn't happen before WrestleMania, then I would say by WrestleMania. At WrestleMania, it should happen. I'm just having a hard time seeing Asuka come out of WrestleMania this year, still your Raw Women's Champion. I just don't see that happening. Be nice, but I just don't see that happening. But like I said a few seconds ago, I'd be very shocked to see a scenario where if the end result wasn't Lacey Evans becoming... Look, take a step back and really think about it. You check out her social media activity, you look at the impressions, you look at the engagements. Honey always got, mad engagements. Mad fucking engagements. You know, not for nothing, I've seen a little bit of the stuff that she was doing maybe on like Main Event, shit like that. I mean, she's been putting in the work. If anything, from what I've seen of her within recent weeks, she has gotten even more crisper in the ring. She's got even more cleaner in the ring as far as her rapport goes, her in-ring rapport. So yeah, I say, you know what? Go ahead. And if it's going to take somebody like a Ric Flair that you essentially need to align her with to have her get to that next threshold and everything, I'm down with that. Let's see how far we can take this. Let's see. What else we got? That happened tonight? Hardy taking on Jason Riker. I don't even know why we had this. We also ended up seeing Elias taking on Jeff Hardy. Another shit match. I personally didn't care about that shit. Keith Lee, Sheamus teaming up to take on Miz and Morrison. Pretty good back and forth of a tag match there. Lee was pretty cool to check out. But then for some weird reason, we come back from a commercial break. I mean, this was so fucking stupid to me. We see Sheamus and Keith Lee. They clicked on all cylinders going into this match between John Morrison and The Miz. They pick up the W. We take a damn commercial break and we come back and these two guys are ripping each other's fucking heads off. I just couldn't help but go, what the fuck is going on here? This is one of the most bipolar fucking moments I've seen here. What the hell? What the hell did we miss? You know, at this point, I had popped something in the oven for my girl. I let my dog out. I come back, and all of a sudden, I see these two guys kicking each other's asses. I'm going, what did I miss? What happened? Why are these guys fighting? And, you know, it never really was established what has set this off. Okay. But, I mean, that was totally fucking bipolar. God, I'm just speechless because that was the most bipolar thing I've ever seen in quite a long time. That would be like watching Miz and Morrison, you know, hey, ho, ho, telling jokes and all this other kinds of crazy fucking shit. They defeat the team of the Luchadors, Lucha House Party, right? They defeat the Lucha House Party in epic squash fashion. We take a commercial break. We come back, and all of a sudden, Miz and Morrison are fighting each other one-on-one, and you're going, wait, that doesn't make what the fuck? Now, see, if these two men in Sheamus and Keith Lee were to fight one another because the end result was they lost to Miz and Morrison, and now they're essentially pushing each other, they're doing the blame game, okay, all right, that makes sense. But this did not make any sense whatsoever. End result, Keith Lee picking up the W. Sheamus now has respect for Keith Lee, as Keith Lee wanted his arm raised by Sheamus. Sheamus says the hell with that and gives him a fucking hug. So now they're peachy. I mean, this was so bipolar on I don't know how many levels, and I've got to heighten that act of bipolar even more, because remember going into this tag match, for those of you that watch Raw, remember the ingredients here that was set up for this feud. Keith Lee's minding his own business. Sheamus comes up to him and says, "Hey, fella! Hey, that was a great match that you had against Drew McIntyre last week for the world title. Look. You may have lost and everything, but you came out of that really earning Drew's respect. And any guy that's able to earn Drew's respect definitely has my respect." So this was Sheamus not only really clearing the air here with Keith Lee, but essentially, look, man, let's let bygones be bygones. Whatever issues I might have had with you in the past, whatever issues you might have had with me in the past, let's just squash it. We're good from here on out, man. It's cool. We cool. But then you get the challenge from Miz and Morrison. You go into this match, and yet Lee and Sheamus win. But then you take the commercial break, and you come back, and Sheamus and Lee are beating the shit out of each other. You see the problem with that? Yeah. Big problem with that. Anyway. See what else we got here. T-Bar taking on Xavier Woods. T-Bar picking up the W. I care less about that one. I didn't really care about that matchup there. United States Championship match. Lashley taking on Riddle. Pretty short matchup here. Lashley was beating the crap out of Riddle way before the bell even rung. So, I mean, pretty much getting the start from that standpoint. Then once the bell officially rung, he's pretty much just got scraps on his hands. Makes quick work of Riddle. Riddle grabs a microphone and pretty much hit me baby one more time. But this time he wants to fight MVP. Riddle somehow manages to win via DQ, but Lashley and MVP, they beat that ass up real fucking good yet again. Very weird right there. Very weird. Weird from this standpoint. Where was Jeff Hardy? All these weeks we've been seeing Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle and what is it? The Hardy Bros? Remember that? The Hardy Bros? We've been seeing some form of a tag between Jeff and Riddle, and yet when it counted the most, we did not see Jeff Hardy come out there, help out his boy. And not for nothing, you can't say, well, Jeff Hardy was in an epic war earlier against Elias, and he was in an epic war with Jason Riker. So you can't say that, because his matches with those guys was under 2 minutes. So I mean, what's going on here? Is this a case right here where we're now kind of breaking up Hardy and Riddle? We're kind of letting them go their own respected singles paths right here? What's going on? Just really weird what was going on right there. But look, as far as having a sympathetic babyface, I don't mind that being Riddle right now, and you know, but I don't know if I really should be feeling kind of sympathetic towards Riddle when it comes to the Hurt Business. I kind of actually like seeing the Hurt Business fuck him up, because I for one am getting a little sick and tired of seeing my man Riddle out there I'm telling you, bro, this is bro pizza. Yeah, I'm kind of getting, I'm kind of, dude, if they make another Ninja Turtles movie, he's got to do the voice of Michelangelo. I'm telling you that straight up. He's got to do the voice of Michelangelo. Hands down, hands down. Let's see. Other than that, I think we pretty much AJ Styles taking on Drew Gulak. Great seeing Drew. Pointless matchup, in my honest opinion. Really not enough of a proper build up. When it's all said and done. I mean, this was just randomly fucking thrown together. Yeah, whatever. Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke losing to Nia Jax, Shayna. It was what it was. Lot of so. So really, when you break it down, as far as the matches of the night during this 3-hour event, Triple H and Randy Orton, just to see how that was gonna pretty much wrap up. I would also say Lacey Evans taking on Charlotte Flair. That's your other match. That was pretty good. Other than that, Keith Lee and Sheamus taking on Miz and Morrison. Otherwise, everything else was so skippable, man. It really, really was. It was so skippable. So yeah, a bit of an average episode when it was all said and done. But that's Raw. That's the talk of Raw. You guys enjoying the show so far? If you are, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Please subscribe, share, all that good jazz. Helps out a ton. Helps out a ton. Let's get into some Patreon shout outs and then we'll dive into some more headlines here. Remember, patreon.com/RCWR show. You can check out bonus audio, video content you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. Check out exclusive shows as well that you'll only be able to find on Patreon. $5 a month instantly get you access to a boatload of content waiting, touch of your fingertips. All for $5 a month. Shout out to our Patreon members, Justin Rivstock, Gino Morgan, Gino. Shout out to J.D. Davis. Shout out to Freddie. Shout out to Anthony DeBlasi. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to Tony Bing Gaming. You want the latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix. For your tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, reviews, Tony Bing Gaming. He's got an awesome YouTube channel and a Patreon paywall as well. Appreciate all of our Patreons. Love my Patreon familia. Let's keep it rocking and let's keep it rolling. Got a little bit of wrestling headlines that we can get into. Got some non-wrestling related headlines that we can get into as well. Let's you know what? Shout out to Les Thatcher. I'm not sure how many of you guys had heard about the legendary pro wrestler. He's been part of a boatload of Hall of Fames, but he is battling COVID. It's in the form of pneumonia, and he has been in quarantine since last week, I believe. And he said that it's been pretty rough for him the initial first handful of days, but he's getting better as we speak. Pretty much he's got to be in quarantine until January the 14th. So he's pretty much been doing the quarantine for, essentially almost 2 weeks, but he's saying that he should be good by the 14th. And look, I don't know. Look, God bless him. If his metabolism and just everything that's going on with his immune system, most importantly, if he thinks he's going to be good to go by the 14th, more power to him. I say don't rush it. Go as slow as humanly possible. But it's weird because when he was originally diagnosed with having COVID, it was recommended that he check into a hospital, basically, that he admitted himself to a hospital, and he did not want to do that. He felt that, and look, some of you guys may be hearing that, and you may be going, man, what, and when it comes right down to it, you have some people that honestly, they don't want to have anything to do with the hospital. They don't want to have anything to do with the hospital from a financial standpoint, because maybe as far as medical coverage goes, insurance, health insurance, they just don't have it. And they don't want to be in a position where they essentially got to pay out of pocket, because that could be very, very, very freaking costly. Even if you happen to pass, a lot of people have the impression, oh, well, whatever bills you might have had once you die, they pretty much, the company that is, will go after your next of kin and try to fucking get their money. That's typically how it sadly goes. It's a fucking cruel beast, but that's how it goes a lot of times. So you have some people that want to dodge the hospital just altogether that way. And then you've got some that just, nah, man, if I'm gonna die, I don't really want to die in the hospital. I don't really want to spend my final days in the hospital. I would rather just do it at home, and if I can, be surrounded by loved ones, what have you. That's okay. But then you just have most people, since they've heard what they've heard about COVID, that's honestly been the number one thing that has been said from all the medical experts, which is, hey, look, we are at maximum capacity right now with what's going on with the COVID. And, unless you are on the brink of dying, then go ahead, come to the hospital, get yourself admitted and everything. But otherwise, just quarantine yourself at home. And that's what a lot of people are finding themselves doing. And that's definitely, look, I was sick not that long ago. Luckily, it was not COVID related, but I was showing COVID symptoms. And when my boss found out, because originally I thought I was just going to be able to be off for a couple of days, take a little bit of NyQuil, DayQuil, Mucinex, come back in about 3 days. Nah, I had to talk to the boss, and the boss was like, yeah, nah, I need you to come back with a doctor's note. Like, that's the only way I'm going to reactivate you. You got to have a doctor's note saying that you were tested for COVID and you're negative. I'm like, really? I'm pretty sure I just got a common cold. Like, I get you, but nah, I want to make sure that and I understood where he was coming from. So, but, I remember when I was sick, a while back, I pretty much was in quarantine. I was in quarantine mode. I made sure that anybody that wanted to see me, they pretty much were able to do so by hitting me up on the phone. And, we did Skype or Zoom or Facebook, and that pretty much was it. And yeah, I mean, it's a bitch being in that isolation there, but speedy recovery to Les Thatcher. Sounds like he's getting better. So that's good. So that's good for him. Also, while we're talking about COVID and everything, shout out to Greg Hamilton, the WWE announcer. He had revealed on social media last week that his fiance has been battling COVID, and it's been real difficult for him because he really wants to be there, spending time with her and doing his best to help her out and everything. And what he feels is her time of need. I mean, who doesn't get that? But, he's on the road and everything. But yeah, it was so heartbreaking to read what he was saying on social media. You just really couldn't help but feel for the guy and say, that fucking sucks. And I tell you, man, I hope that I need these vaccines to roll out much quicker than what's been going on these past couple of weeks. And I just hope that with this new administration that's going to be able to come in a couple of more days, I really hope they're going to be able to really, I hear the talk, but now let's see the action. I really hope that they're going to be able to expedite it, but only time will tell. Also, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, WrestleMania 24. I don't know what's going on, but WrestleMania 24 was apparently pulled from the WWE Network. Not sure how many of you guys were aware of that. But yeah, you go on the WWE Network as we speak, and it's not available to check out at this time. And it's got a lot of people. What's going on? Why of all the WrestleManias, why is that one pulled? So WWE was ultimately asked what's going on with WrestleMania 24, and they said that they know the show is unavailable and they're working to include it again. Now, for those of you that need a little bit of help jogging your memory on that WrestleMania 24 card, that's the one that had Floyd Money Mayweather taking on Big Show. Undertaker took on Edge for the World Heavyweight title. Ric Flair had his final match against Shawn Michaels. Randy Orton, Triple H, John Cena faced off for the WWE title. So you can't help but wonder what's going on there. Is it a money issue? Is it something related to Floyd Mayweather? What's going on? No, you can't help but wonder. If I were to speculate, we're talking about WrestleMania 24. And sadly, the WWE Network was not around at that point. So you can't help but ponder if the deal Mayweather signed at the time, okay, he gets a piece of the pay-per-view buy rates. He gets a piece of the DVD buy rates. But did he get a piece of the WWE Network? Did he get a piece of that? Because if he hasn't gotten a piece of that, then that's possibly just an educated guess. I could totally be wrong about it. But that's possibly why WrestleMania 24 was pulled, so that they could go back to the drawing table there and figure out, okay, what's a nice roundabout number that Floyd can get. When you stop and think about it, remember all the interviews that we've heard of former talents from WWE. They're still trying to figure out how that whole WWE Network thing goes, because for a lot of them, as far as they know, they haven't gotten any money on the back end for their shit being featured on the network. Now, it's one thing if they're doing Table for Three or, but what about their name and likeness that's being used for whatever pay-per-view, for whatever show they were on, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and long after they're gone from the company and all that, okay, well, how does the royalties go about as far as collecting from the network? Still very up in the air. You've heard a lot of wrestlers have commented about that over the years. Definitely Moxley being one of the most recent guys to talk about that. So you can't help but wonder if somehow word got back to Floyd, and if maybe, say what you will about Floyd, but Floyd, don't fuck with him and his money, because Floyd gonna get his. So I don't think it's really that big of a deal, though, when it's all said and done. Give it some time. I wouldn't be surprised if before the Royal Rumble, I wouldn't be surprised if WrestleMania 24 was back up on the WWE Network. So, but I thought that was kind of cool to pass along to you guys. Also, want to show some love to Impact Wrestling. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about the Genesis pay-per-view. I did watch it over the weekend. I actually checked it out after, night one of the NFL wildcard day. I'll talk about the whole wildcard. That was a crazy weekend. That was a crazy ass weekend, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. I did check out Impact Wrestling's Genesis pay-per-view event, and I gotta tell you, it was a pretty good card. Like I said at the beginning, if you guys did not get a chance to watch the event, check it out. All you got to do is go on Roku, go on your Android, your iOS device, go on your smart TV and Roku, all that, and you can pretty much download the Impact Plus app. That way you can check it out for free. Bullshit you not, no strings attached. You can check it out for free. It was good. It was good. Talk about some of these matches that had came from the Genesis card. So of course we had the 2021 Super X Cup tournament. Ace Austin coming out on top as the X Cup winner. Now, in order for him to have gotten to that point, he defeated Suicide. You had Blake Christian, who defeated KC Navarro. Cousin Jake defeated Davari. Crazy Steve defeated Trey Lamar. Then in your semifinals, Ace Austin defeated Cousin Jake. Blake Christian defeated Crazy Steve. So that pretty much had set up Ace Austin taking on Blake Christian for the 2021 Super X Cup tournament finals. Look, Blake Christian, I don't know about Blake Christian. I got to be honest with you. KC Navarro, look, if we had to had a younger guy, a fresher face of a guy to be in there in the finals, I would have actually preferred it if it would have been Davari. Hell, I actually wouldn't have minded if Crazy Steve or even Trey Lamar would have been across the ring from Ace Austin there. But there was just something about Blake Christian. I just did not ever at one point find it believable that Blake Christian really even had a shot. And I hate to say that, but I'm looking at him and I'm going, and I'm sure he's probably heard it before, so I'm not knocking the guy in any means. I'm not. But he does not scream to me that of a guy that I would be checking out weekly if he was on a wrestling show. He does not scream that to me. If I were to really compare, and I hate comparing, you guys know I don't like comparing, but if I were to do a little comparison, over on MLW, you got that little trio known as Injustice. I don't particularly care for Injustice. I don't. I think Injustice would be a hell of a lot better if they had a manager in their corner. And I remember for the longest time, before MVP came back to the WWE, I used to say, man, put MVP there with Injustice. Let him be the mouthpiece for Injustice. That would really, really get shit popping. Or put Conan with Injustice. And we saw it didn't happen, sadly. But I kind of like Injustice more than... You feel where I'm coming from? I mean, he just does not scream, hey, here's this guy. You're gonna... And there's ways to make up for that. Okay, you might not exactly have the look, but how are you in the ring? And there was nothing in the ring that screamed, okay, well, despite the appearance, he makes up for it because look at his in-ring work. Yeah, there was nothing. There's nothing there that I saw that, look, this is something that is still in the oven and it's baking. That clay is still baking in the oven. That is the nicest way I can describe Blake Christian right now. Meanwhile, I look at a guy like Trey Lamar, I look at KC Navarro, and I'm going, now you can do something with that. You could definitely do something with that. Now, I hope that at some point in the near future, we actually will see the team of Ace Austin, Madman Fulton, KC Navarro. I think KC Navarro would fit perfectly right in with those guys. I legitimately do. If he were to go the solo route, I think he would do pretty good as well. But if they haven't already signed him to an Impact deal, they definitely need to. They'd be missing out. But that's a talent, that KC Navarro kid. I mean, he is, I think I described it before last week, but he's got this weird combination of Sammy Guevara meets Low Key meets Ricky Starks. One hell of a nice combination that he's got going on there as far as persona and what he does in the ring. It's a hell of a combo, but very, very impressed with his work. Ace Austin, come on, seriously. Those of you that's been following the Impact brand, we should have gone in this direction. This was the right move to make. What other direction were they supposed to go? I brought it up last week. I said, look, we haven't seen Ace Austin in a couple of months. Remember? And I even said, man, we have him back on Impact, and we had him lose to, what was it, Crazy Steve? Because I think it was a fatal four-way, was it not? It was a fatal four-way. It was Crazy Steve, Ace Austin, Casey Navarro. I believe Blake Christian was in that mix as well, but don't quote me on that. But it was a fatal four-way. And basically it was the four guys that you would see at later on at that weekend's Genesis for the Super Cup. They were fighting each other. And we saw Crazy Steve going, wait, what? So this is our first time seeing Ace Austin back in action. And then remember, I criticized the hell out of it. Just go back and check out the last Impact Showdown that we did. So for Ace Austin, I always felt in my heart of hearts, despite what I saw from Impact last week, I felt in my heart of hearts, well, Ace Austin has to be the one to fucking get this. I mean, it's a fucking no-brainer. So for him to win the Super X Cup tournament, I'm down with that. As far as I'm concerned, right guy won. And now, of course, this puts Ace Austin in a really good position where he could eventually say to Impact Management, I want a shot at the X Division Championship. Look at what I did in the Super Cup. What's up? So I'm down with that. Willie Mack. Actually, you know what? Let's get to that. Let's come back to that because that was the main event matchup of the night. Let's come back to that. Jordan Grace taking on Jazz. Dudes, I love this fucking match. I fucking love this match. This had a nice old school type of feel to it. It did. It almost reminded me of a good old-fashioned women's wrestling match I would see once in a blue moon from some of my favorite underground women's wrestling promotions. It had that type of a vibe to it. It did. It almost had a 90s wrestling limited syndication vibe to it. I mean, it was that type of a throwback in a good way. I love these two girls. These two girls, you know, they didn't go too long. They went about almost 14 minutes, I would say. But man, they did good. They did good in this one. I liked how, despite the fact Jordan Grace was facing the veteran in Jazz. I mean, Jazz has pretty much been at this. My God, Jazz has pretty much been at this fucking 20 years or some shit. Over 20 years. Jordan showed no flaws. There was no sloppiness. There was no second guessing. No botching. I mean, it was good. There were moments many times in this match where Jazz is just, okay, you take the lead. You know, you call the shots. All right. And Jordan Grace was able to do that and then some. So it was a good back and forth between these two girls. I was a little bit heartbroken that Jazz didn't pick up the win because, after all, you know, she did lose with Jordan Grace in the Knockouts tournament. So it's like, so it would have been nice to see Jazz kind of, you know, get that W there from Jordan Grace. And I'll go one even better. I thought for sure after this match was over that when Jordan Grace was trying to be a good sport and hold up the hand of Jazz, I thought for sure Jazz was going to clothesline the shit out of Grace. I thought for sure that's where we were going to be going with this. But it didn't happen. It just went out on a real nice, classy note, and you're going, okay, all right, cool. I hope we can see a little bit more Jazz and Impact, though, man. I'm just saying it would be nice. I think it would be so cool, especially if Impact were able to work something out with Jazz. I personally would love to see Jazz continue to work with Impact. I like to see it happen on a limited run, on a very limited run. Um, Look, you can call me being selfish. I'll take it. I'll wear that hat. But I think about all the promotions that Jazz has worked in: Shine, Shakira, SWE, WWE, um, NWA. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And for whatever respected weird reason, as far as Jazz and Impact Wrestling goes, I don't know why, but for whatever respected reason, in years prior, Jazz never did anything with Impact Wrestling. Jazz never did anything with Impact Wrestling. And I just find that baffling because I would have to rely on guys like Gino and them. It's like, well, did she at least do something at the TNA one night only joints? And I would remember hearing something about that. And so to just wrap my brain around the fact that all these years Jazz has been out there and all the promotions that she's worked for, all those years, good years, mind you, that she missed at Impact Wrestling, tearing it up with ODB, tearing it up with fucking Victoria. I already mentioned ODB. Awesome Khan. Oh my God. Could you just imagine an Impact Wrestling back in the heyday? Awesome Khan and Jazz just tearing it up for the Knockouts title. Jesus Christ. That would have been fucking epic. Jazz and Gail Kim. So many good matchups that were missed. And there's just that selfish part of me that would like to see Jazz on a short limited run in Impact that would culminate in her becoming the Knockouts champion. And, look, if we got to put the title, if we got to have Jazz cough the title right back up to somebody at the very next pay-per-view, I would totally be okay with that. But I would love to see her get a limited run as a Knockouts champion. And hopefully that can actually still happen while she's doing this farewell tour. It's a legit farewell tour that she's doing and everything. But we'll see. We'll see. Anything can possibly happen. We'll see. But yeah, it was a good match. It was a good match between those two girls. Check that out. Of all the matches that I would say go out of your way, like if you really didn't want to sit through the Super Cup, you just want to fast forward, you at least got to go out of your way for sure and check out Jordynne Grace taking on Jazz. Good old school feel to it. Main event match of the night for Genesis, Willie Mack taking on and defeating Moose. It's an I Quit match. Damn good I Quit match. Damn good. Good psychology in this one. And, unlike your traditional I Quit match where one wrestler does this big move, this big spot to the other guy and says to the referee, ask him if he's willing to quit. Ask him if he's ready. Rather than have that, practically every single time something was done, like 15 seconds after the next hit or whatever, I love the fact that ask him. And I mean, the ref is just running all up in the face with the microphone. And for a big chunk of that, it was Moose that was at the receiving end of the ass whooping there from Willie Mack. And the ref's going, Moose, I gotta ask you, you want to quit? And Moose is just, screw you. And it's like, and Willie Mack's going, screw me, huh? Screw me. And he's just continuing to whoop his ass. But I loved it. This was, for me, there were some elements to this I Quit match that was kind of fresh. And that was just one of those elements that I talk about that was rather fresh. But what was also fresh At least in my mind, I thought it was fresh because, normally we get these I Quit matches and, the two opponents, they tear each other up and eventually, I quit. But what was fresh about this one was the end. The end was very, very fresh for me. So Willie Mack, he's pretty much beaten into a pulp. He's in the middle of the ring, laid out. Moose has a steel chair under the neck of Willie. And he's got another steel chair and he's getting ready to go to fucking town. He's getting ready to do legit pain on Willie. And all of a sudden, Rich Swann comes out screaming his ass off. No, what are you doing? No, stop, move, stop. And he's going, what is this about? Like seriously, you've already beaten this man. What more is there? What do you want? You're doing all of this for a reason. What the hell do you want? If you want a shot at this, is that what this is all about? You want a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship? And Moose says to him, that's what I want. If that's what you want, fine. You got the match, okay? You got the match. Just let him be, please. You got the match. And Moose says, thank you. I quit. And he rolls out. And the pay-per-view just goes off like that. And you're going, holy shit. And so now you're thinking to yourself, shit. In storyline, of course, you're saying to yourself, shit. This had to have been Moose's plan the entire freaking time. He literally played Rich Swann like a freaking fiddle. He played him the whole time to get him to do what he ultimately wanted. Remember what Moose had said a couple of weeks back on Impact, and we talked about it again on Impact Showdown. Check it out. We put the show out on demand in the downloads, audio version typically that we put it out. But once in a while, I'll do a special live webcast edition where you can mainly catch it on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcast. And I remember saying, hey, gotta watch out. Gotta watch out for Moose because Moose is going to play this game and he's going to get Rich Swann in his trap. Just watch this storyline. Just peep it out. And sure enough, that's exactly how it's playing out here. But now the question ultimately becomes, is Moose finally going to hit pay dirt? Is 2021, is January 2021 finally going to be that moment that us Moose fans have been waiting a couple of years for, where we finally see Moose become the Impact World Champion? Man, I'm telling you, that would be fucking, I hope, man. I hope that's what's going to go down. Coming up at the Hard to Kill event this coming Saturday. But no, all around, I would say the Genesis pay-per-view event, pretty good. I would give it a respected, I definitely give it a thumbs up. For sure. 9 matches, free pay-per-view event, 9 matches. I would say I'd give it a 7. I would give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah, 7 out of 10. I would give it. So yeah, go out of your way, check that out when you guys get a chance. I'm looking forward to seeing this Tuesday's Impact. That should be pretty good. As we've got, once again, Kenny Omega, Don Callis, they're going to be in the house. There's a little bit of a tease, though, that Lance Archer may be making an appearance on Impact. So, kind of following up when we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, it's very well possible now that we're starting to maybe get that crossover. Because remember, I had trepidations there as far as how the crossover handling has been going on within recent weeks and everything. So, we'll see what happens. I hear the little chatter that's going on. Speaking of Impact and Access TV, they are beginning Wrestle Week. It starts Tuesday, going all the way up through Saturday's Hard to Kill pay-per-view event. So check this out. Here's the schedule. Tuesday, January 12th, 3 p.m., there's going to be an Impact in 60 on Chris Sabin. And again, this is going to be on Access TV. Again, on Access TV. Then at 4 p.m., Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory 2020 cable broadcast premiere is going down. That's going to be featuring the Impact World Championship, Eric Young defending against Rich Swann. The Impact Knockouts Championship, Deonna Purrazzo defending against Su Yung. Impact X Division Championship, Rohit defending against Jordan Grace, TJP, Chris Bay, Willie Mack, Trey Miguel. Impact Tag titles on the line as the Motor City Machine Guns defend against the Good Brothers, against the North, against Ace Austin, Madman Fulton. Moose takes on MC3. Ken Shamrock takes on Eddie Edwards. And then you've got the 20 wrestler Call Your Shot Gauntlet. 8 p.m. Eastern, you got a new Impact on Access TV. Following matches that's been announced, Rich Swann taking on Carl Anderson. Tenille Dashwood facing Rosemary. Taya Valkyrie goes one-on-one with Kimber Lee. Tommy Dreamer squares off against Diener. I believe that is Cody Diener. 10 p.m. Impact in 60 Hidden Gems. Thursday, January the 14th at 9 p.m. This is Hard to Kill. Friday, January 15th, 8 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Badass Movie Night with the Good Brothers, Kickboxer. Then Saturday, January 16th at 7 p.m. live Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill Countdown. And I believe that's going to be kind of like a panel that's going to have Madison Rain and a couple of other cats that's going to be part of that. Then at 8 p.m., you've got your Hard to Kill event. Following matches, AEW's World Heavyweight Champion Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus the Impact World Champion Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns. That should be a damn good main event. Knockouts Tag Title Championship match, Havoc and Nevaeh take on Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steelz. X Division Championship, Manic defends against Rohit Raju and Chris Bay in a triple threat. Knockouts Championship, Deonna Purrazzo defends the title against Taya Valkyrie. Old School Rules match, Eric Young, Joe Doring, and Diener take on Tommy Dreamer, Rhino, and Cousin Jake. Barbed Wire Massacre, Sami Callihan faces Eddie Edwards. And I know, as much as I want to forget this next match, I know Gino's going to remind me. So let me save him the trouble right now without reminding me. Ethan Page is beating himself. He's beating himself. No, seriously. Ethan Page faces the Karate Man. Yeah. So all that's going to be going down on Saturday's Hard to Kill event. I'm excited for that. I actually had got my work schedule like last week, and I literally have the same schedule all this week. So once again, I'm gonna be off Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So I'm definitely gonna be checking out the Hard to Kill pay-per-view event. Let me know if you all are gonna be around. Get at me. You could comment on this episode or get at me on social media. Let me know if you're gonna be around. Who knows? Maybe I'll do some type of a Discord hangout of showing the pay-per-view, and we all could chat and all that while we're watching the event. We'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be good. Looking forward to that. That should be good. How are we doing on Showtime, by the way? Let's see how we're doing here. Oh, we're doing fantastic. We're only about 90 minutes into the show, so that's pretty good. A lot more cool topics we can get into. So I think when it's all said and done, by the time we're done with this episode, we're going to be at about the 2-hour mark. And I'm kind of good with that. I made a promise going into the new calendar year. I was going to do a better job being more mindful of the time and really making sure that we're much tighter with the shows and everything. It's one thing if we do like a Q&A portion. A lot of people want to call in. That is something that I'm going to be rolling out as well in the coming weeks. There is going to be, I think what we're going to end up doing is we're definitely going to be utilizing our Discord a lot more. And there's going to be some weeks where after I'm done with the show, there's going to be a post show, a post show, if you will. Because if you think about it, this is kind of a post show that we usually do. But there's going to be a post show where you guys can basically go one-on-one with me. You know, we're chatting, all that good shit. So look out for that. I'll be setting that up definitely before the month of January. As a matter of fact, I think we'll actually try to have that premiere Royal Rumble weekend. I think that's when we'll probably have it premiere. All right, let's get into some more little tidbits here of wrestling related news. Conrad Thompson, he's making the news. I don't know if you guys had heard about this, but Conrad had talked about the future of StarCast and whether Vince McMahon would ever do the convention and more. And here's what he said here, for those of you that might be a little bit curious. And I quote, "We're going to wait and see what happens. In 2019, when we hosted the third StarCast in Chicago, we put a hold on the hotel for 2020 and 2021. So I have a hold there for 2021, but I don't know what that's going to look like. Normally, we would announce something like that as early as possible, but I'm not sure we'll be all the way back to normal by late August. I'd like to think we would, but I still don't know. But if we are ready, I would love to do at least one more just to say we did it. I'd love to work with our partners, the folks at Hyatt Chamber, who have been tremendous. It's so much fun to work with everyone putting the shows together. That weekend can be stressful, but it's so fun to create. I'd like to do it one more time, but I'm not sure if it's possible. We'll wait and see." Now, let me pause on that one. Gino. You're killing me, Gino. Gino said, Ethan Page versus Karate Man will be the match of the night. Oh, God, I hope so, man. I'm just like, I'm trying hard. I'm trying hard to just, it's like, we got this match, we got all of these exciting matches, and then we got the one guy that's going to be beating himself on that card. That's, yeah. It's crazy, man. So let's take a pause right there. Let's just marinate on what Conrad just said. And it's so funny. Gino and some of our other Patreon members, they'll back me up on this, because me and the missus, we talked about this on Wrestling with the Topics from last week. And that's the conventions. It was a great topic that we got into. We were talking about the virtual signings that you all are seeing now from wrestling promotions, from those that deal with wrestling memorabilia, collectibles and all that, virtual signings and all that. And we got into this nice multi-layered discussion about, okay, is it here to stay? And if it's here to stay, then what does that mean for the regular norm, what we're accustomed to and everything. And it was a great in-depth discussion that we had about it and everything. And I remember at one point we talked about, what's the promotion? Is it Big Wrestling? Gina, what's the promotion that we were talking about? I think it was Big Wrestling. The Big Wrestling that we were talking about. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can actually pull up their joint right now. And I think it was not Big Time Wrestling. I don't think it was Big Time Wrestling. Let me see here. No, it ain't Big Time Wrestling. Let me go back a second here. Big Event. I'm pretty sure it was Big Event. I'm actually on my Facebook page right now, if you guys can just bear with me here. I'm pretty sure it was Big Event Wrestling, or The Big Event. Yep, The Big Event. We were talking about, yeah, man, you got to catch up. There's a lot of content we put out, man. The Big Event. So at one point we brought up The Big Event because The Big Event I followed them on Facebook, and I must have watched them push back their date like 3 times in 2020 and then going into 2021, basically. like a total of 3 times. I've watched them. The new date is now March 6th, 2021. And you're just looking at the COVID numbers, and you're looking at the numbers of the people that we're losing on a daily basis as it's getting higher and higher. And I'm not trying to go all doom and gloom on you guys, but there's no denying the numbers. Whew, that's pretty bad. And we're talking about, okay, let's try to do this event where we have people get together. That is going to be so fucking hard to do. So fucking hard to do. And then trying to make sure that, well, let's be honest, you can't really police everybody at an event like this. You really can't, because you're going to have some people that, I mean, this is where it's really, really delicate right here. This is where it's really delicate. Yeah, you can't police everybody. But if you are renting out a particular space where there's going to be XYZ number of talents, well, fuck, for their safety and for your safety, you got to implement some type of a mask policy, because sadly by that period of March 6, 2021, yeah, everybody's not gonna have that fucking magical vaccine shot. Let's be real on that. Let's be real on that. It is probably gonna take all of 2021 and maybe half of 2022 to be in a good position where we'd be able to say, by looking at the data, hey, at least 90% of Americans got the COVID shot. So yeah, we can go on ahead and we can kind of go back to how things were before COVID. So I don't see big event. To my point, I don't see big event as much as they would love to do like they normally do. I just don't see it happening. They're going to need to embrace the technology that's out there and utilize it the way RF Video, High Spots, Big Time Wrestling are doing it. And they're doing these great WWE, you see WWE, Impact Wrestling, they're all doing it now. They're doing these great virtual little signings, giving you an opportunity to mail your stuff in or go to the website, get yourself, order yourself an 8x10, all that cool stuff, give you an opportunity to interact with your favorite talents. You get a copy of that virtual meet and greet that you do and everything. I think for the foreseeable future, that's the direction that we're going to have to go right here. I think as far as 2021 goes, for doing a StarCast event, I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. I'm being totally honest with you guys. I'd be shocked if that were to happen. But with this trend that's going on with the numbers, the COVID numbers, I'm just not confident. I just don't see it happening. I would really, really be shocked. If you were to just force me to say, what's the earliest in 2021? You would just say, Lee, just hypothetically speaking, what's the earliest you could maybe entertain seeing a StarCast event or a big event? I would say to you guys, well, first off, let's get past winter, because we're still in a winter season. So let's get past winter first. So that's pretty much going into April, per se. I would say, let's see. Let's see what's going on with the COVID numbers and all that by August. I think that's a really good, by then, that's enough data where you can see, okay, has it been continuing to go low, or what? Have we stayed in the middle? You know, what's going on right there? So we got to see what's going on there. We definitely got to see what's going on there. But we'll see. Gino, yeah, check out the Patreon content. Oh man, you got burned out from Wrestle Kingdom? Good God almighty. Yeah. I mean, that's like essentially 12 hours that you're not going to be able to get back. I get asked usually yearly by people that private message me, send me an email, or they'll ask me out in the open, are you going to be checking out Wrestle Kingdom? And normally in the past, it wouldn't be a problem because when I was working in market research, I had the cachet. I had that cachet where if I needed to do something in regards to the show, it was very easy for me to just, hey, I got to take this day off. And boom, I could get that day off because of the cachet that I built up all my years being with my former employer. But now that I'm in the new industry that I'm in, kind of a return, but now that I'm working for a new employer and all that, it's not the same. I can't just, I wanted to watch night one of Wrestle Kingdom because I think night one of Wrestle Kingdom, I think that was on a Saturday night. It's like I think it began. What time did it begin, Gino? I think it began like late Saturday night going into Sunday morning, like 2 a.m. or some shit like that. I wanted to watch it, but it was like, man, that's going to be at least 5-6 hours. You're not going to be able to get back. Like, do you really want to? And then it was, okay, so do you want to watch that? And then essentially come right back, go into Monday night, and then, right? And then it's like, so what did you do this weekend? I was in front of the TV for essentially 12 hours. Right. Yeah. Monday morning. Like, yeah. Like, and then I got to follow that up with Monday Night Raw and woo. It was like, nah, I'm kind of good on, I'm good on that. Like, put me in a position where I definitely don't have to worry about work and I got enough time to recoup. I'll gladly fucking do that shit. If you notice, those last couple of times when I was covering Wrestle Kingdom, there was mad flexibility with my schedule. I could just, off the fly, I could just fucking do that. But like now it's, especially now that I got school that's going to be kicking in later this month. I'm going back to school. So that's kind of, I feel for guys like Gino and everybody else that was able to check out Wrestle Kingdom. Mad respect, because I just, Now, that doesn't mean I won't ever watch it. I could see myself definitely watching it at some point, but not in one sitting, not even in a 2-part sitting. I could see myself, an hour here, 2 hours here, and then just moving on or whatever. See, this is why in cases like this, I miss Access TV. I miss the relationship that Access TV was having there with New Japan Pro Wrestling. That was a great relationship. Yeah. US have to feel what UK feels watching Raw. And fuck yeah. But yeah, I miss the Access TV New Japan relationship because that was just a beautiful thing. Remember, every time there was a Wrestle Kingdom, man, Access TV, somehow Mark Cuban and them, they would get the fucking rights. Next thing you know, we would start to see Wrestle Kingdom in like 4 parts. And we would pretty much be caught up that way. That was so awesome the way that they did that. And I hope that New Japan, I hope that they somehow at a much later date, I hope that sometime in 2021, they announce a new partnership with an American TV audience, network-wise and all that, because I miss that presence that they had. And one of my guilty sins on Saturday nights, checking out Access TV, checking out the New Japan, and then when, if I remember right, it started off Friday nights, and then it went into Saturday nights, if I remember it right, with Access. So, but then once Ed Nordholm and crew came in there, I mean, they pretty much just blew that shit up. Shit was all good just a week ago, and they just blew that shit up. Fucking sucks, man. Fucking sucks. All right, but other than that, we were still talking about Conrad. Now, he also said something about the possibility of the McMahons appearing at StarCast. I don't know why this question was asked, but No, let me be clear. If it's an event piggybacking an AEW event pay-per-view, that's not happening. But if it's an event piggybacked by a WWE event, then maybe there is a chance I could call in a favor with Bruce and try to beg borrow, kneel, and negotiate, but it's not likely. No chance in hell he'll show up at an AEW event. Yeah, you have better odds. With Triple H than you do with Vinnie Mac. Yeah, I've been waiting patiently to see what's going on with WOW Women of Wrestling. I've been waiting for some type of an announcement, and I'm hoping that 2021. I really hope that once we get all this COVID shit out the way, obviously safety and well-being for everybody first. Hopefully, we can expect some announcements from David McLean and crew. I mean, one of the last things I remember hearing when me and my boy Mish were interviewing him, he was saying that, he was looking at apps as far as streaming WOW exclusive content, matches, shows, and all of that, trying to actually take WOW on tour to select cities, actually bring the promotion to fans. But then, of course, the shit went down with Access. And now, pretty much since then, mom has been the word. Add on top of that, the pandemic. But I would hope that at some point before 2021 is out, hopefully we can get some type of an announcement on WOW. I miss that promotion dearly. I miss covering it. I miss talking about it. That was a promotion I could have it on. My girl comes in and she's like, "Oh, what are you watching?" I'm like, "Watching WOW, Women of Wrestling." Oh, cool. And she just pulls up right next to me, and she had her favorites too. She loved Tessa Blanchard. I mean, if anybody kind of took it, I won't say too personal, but if anybody kind of looked at Tessa Blanchard much differently when that shit came out last year, my girl looked at it. My girl totally has a different set of lens when she looks at Tessa Blanchard now. Not the same as before, where she really admired her work and all of that. Now she just kind of, leans back and just, but Tessa Blanchard was one of her favorites in WOW. Who else did she like? She tolerated the Beast, even though I was a big fan of the Beast. She tolerated the Beast. I think for her, Beast was just too freakish looking. It's like Beast was just too freakish looking. Abilene Maverick, Barbie Hayden. I miss her fucking character. Oh my god, miss her big time. Who else? I'm just thinking who else. Damn. Cobra Moon, aka Thunder Rosa. Miss seeing her shit from down there. Yeah, man. A whole lot of fucking, man. Miss WOW. I miss my WOW. I miss it tremendously. Hopefully it comes back in some shape or form, man. Hopefully it does. I'm looking at what's going on with NWA and what they were able to do, what AEW is able to do with their Dark Edition, and I just say to myself, okay, well, David McLean and crew, what's up? Why not go this route? I look at what OVW has been doing all these years. I look at what MLW was doing all these years, and it's like, okay, if we got to go the social media route for exclusive content, doing a new show, launching it and all that, why not? Why not? If we can't really secure a TV network deal right now, then why not? Why not just go in this route? So we'll see what happens. Interesting Vince McMahon news that's come about. Apparently, Vince McMahon has finally responded to XFL's Commissioner Oliver Luck's wrongful termination lawsuit with a countersuit of his own, alleging insubordination and more. You got the USA Today that's reporting McMahon filed a countersuit last Thursday in Connecticut federal court, claiming that Luck defied his orders regarding hiring league personnel and abandoned his duties after the XFL suspended play in mid-March due to the pandemic. Rewind this back a little bit. Luck sued McMahon for wrongful termination back in April, claiming that he is owed the remaining $23.8 million on his contract along with damages and attorney fees. The suit was filed a week after McMahon fired him, alleging that it was with cause. McMahon's suit says that Luck signed former NFL wide receiver Antonio Callaway against his wishes, as McMahon only wanted talent with good character. And Callaway had been suspended 10 games in 2019 for violating the NFL substance abuse policy. Callaway was signed but suffered a knee injury before league play started, and due to workers' comp, they were unable to terminate him without paying his original signing bonus of over $120,000. Yeah. McMahon writes in the suit, Luck knowingly and deliberately deceived me repeatedly throughout the Callaway situation, which made me question whether I could continue to trust Luck to be the commissioner and CEO of the XFL. The suit also details similar instances such as former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Martavis Bryant, suspended in 2016 for substance abuse policy violations, and an unnamed player who was banned from the university where his XFL team was practicing due to a sexual assault charge. Luck also clashed with McMahon over reports that the XFL was interested in Johnny Manziel, with McMahon texting Luck at one point and saying there's no chance in hell for Manziel to be signed and he wouldn't change his mind. Luck responded that they had no intention of signing him and were just milking the story to stay in the news. So McMahon, meantime, you guys keeping up, is seeking over $500,000 in change in his countersuit over the Callaway's contract, the workers' compensation owed to him, and Luck's compensation from March 14th to April 9th. Luck's counsel said in a statement, it's another lame attempt by Mr. McMahon's attorneys to deflect attention from the fact that Mr. McMahon continues to refuse to pay the $24 million that he owes to Oliver Luck. Look, when it's all said and done, McMahon's got the money. McMahon's got the money. He can easily just chalk this up. But McMahon legitimately feels that he was betrayed by Commissioner Luck. And, you know, I don't think, in this rare instance right here, just 2 cents from a distance, you know, obviously we all need to wait until we see more information come about with this, but just 2 cents from a distance, you know, I can remember, because I was following from the announcement that the XFL relaunch came about, and just staying on top of the XFL news to when the teams were announced and all of that, what networks were going to be involved. I remember staying on top of that shit pretty much since day one. I always got the vibe that McMahon wanted to do the XFL this go round with there being no controversy whatsoever. He wanted it to be as clean and honest as humanly possible. No red tape, no shenanigans, no bullshit. So, you know, what's going to need to be proven by McMahon's camp is, okay, these are the text messages, these are the emails, these are, if even recorded conversations that I've had with Luck. And this is what we were talking about. You know, this is what I wanted. This is what I was expecting. And he does the exact opposite. You know, his camp is going to have to prove that Luck was in breach of, okay, I told you to do this, but you're doing the opposite. They're going to have to prove that. If they're not able to prove that, then this is going to be an easy judgment in favor of Luck and his attorneys. Do I see this possibly settling out of court? I don't know about that. I mean, look, we know one thing with Vinnie Mac and WWE, push come to shove. Yeah, if they need to drag it out, they can fucking drag it out. Luck's got money, but, does Luck really want to drag this out? Kind of have to wait and see about that. But, 2 cents from a distance, as far as predictions go, I think there's going to be a settlement. I think there's going to be some type of a settlement, and both parties are going to get some type of a gag order where they're not going to be allowed to talk about the deal. I think there's going to be a lot of conditions. I can see this being settled. Will it pretty much be wrapped up this year? Maybe, but I think it's going to get settled when it's all said and done. Speaking about shit being settled, apparently Jeff Jarrett and Anthem Media, they finally settled that GFW, that global force. They finally settled that fucking shit. I'm not sure how many of you guys had heard about it, but apparently Law 360, they reported that the lawsuit was settled between the two parties with a motion filed on Friday that was entered in the records. Now, if you guys recall, you got to rewind it back a couple of years. You got to go back to about summer of 2018. That's when Jeff Jarrett had brought this lawsuit about against Anthem, alleging that the company had infringed on trademark rights regarding GFW, his own likeliness, and more. The whole matter involved Anthem using GFW amped footage and Jarrett's likeliness, name, and trademarks after the merger between GFW and Anthem fell apart in 2017 and Jarrett was fired. Remember, there was that period there in Impact when we saw Jeff Jarrett come back home. It was looking as though, okay, well, maybe Jeff Jarrett is going to be able to kind of steer this ship around. Maybe he's going to come back to good here with Impact. And all right, maybe there's going to be a nice little full circle here to this story, but it sadly didn't play out that way. Yeah, I mean, it was a whole lot of weird shit that was going on with this, but he also had I remember one of the things that was going on with Ed Nordholm at the helm once he came in with Impact and all of that shit. I don't know how it happened, but somehow GFW master tapes, like somehow that shit was being used on the Impact Plus app, and it was really fucking weird what was going on. But to hear that things finally got fucking squashed, it's good. Now, the motion notes that if the terms of the settlement are met, and unless any party objects, they will submit a joint request for dismissal of the claims and counterclaims in the case by no later than October 1st of 2022. So hopefully Jeff can just put this behind him. And I mean, look, he's over in the WWE now. Nice little money that's coming in from over there. Just let it be. Just let it be and move on. Move on to bigger and better things. Why keep going backwards? I always personally say. But yeah, I remember following that and talking about that, and that was just very, very ugly. I'm still reminded of the interview. That I did with Jeff Jarrett. I believe, I gotta check the logs, but I believed I interviewed Jeff Jarrett twice, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember the whole stuff about Global Force. At the time when I was talking to him about Global Force, at this point, it was still in the early stages. And I think at that point when we had him on the show, if I remember right, he was doing something with New Japan. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I remember hearing the excitement in his voice. and me challenging him, saying, hey, are you really sure about this wrestling boom? There's a lot of people that think there's really not a boom that's out there. What do you say to that? What to you is this wrestling boom? And I remember asking him those questions and everything, and he legit felt as though there was some type of a boom that there was out there. And I don't know if he was thinking as far as what Cody, the Bucks, Omega, and them were ultimately able to do, and forming AEW and all that. I don't know if he was maybe thinking that kind of a boom, if that's exactly what he meant. But boy, I tell you what, I don't know. I don't know as far as 2021 goes and wrestling. I don't know about that. Teach its own. Also, former WWE co-presidents launched their own investment company. Former WWE co-presidents George Barbaros and Michelle Wilson, get this, they're launching their own investment company called Isos Capital Management. If you guys recall, they both left January of last year. Or they were rather kind of relieved of their duties from WWE last year. They pretty much were working for WWE since 2008. And I won't read to you guys the press release that they put out on that company there, but in a nutshell, this company, it ties into, I'm just kind of skimming here, investment opportunities, leveraging their own unique operating experience, insights, networking. The ISOS, again, that name sounds like ISIS to me personally, but they plan to invest in businesses that fit their thesis of mega trends shaping the industry and provide value creation through brand growth, digital transformation, and globalization. Target early growth and late stage media, entertainment, and sports companies will consider a variety of investment vehicles. So look, the fact that they're still willing to deal with sports entertainment and all of that good stuff, that's good. What I can't help but wonder is if you're a promotion such as ROH and you're trying to go to that next level, do you maybe give these guys a call? If you're AEW, do you maybe give these guys a call? If you're Impact Wrestling, do you maybe give these guys a call? You can't help but wonder. Nah, he wasn't with the Bullet Club, Gino. I think if I remember it right, when I was interviewing him, I think he had a production company that was associated with Global Force and all that. And if I remember it right, I think his company was in charge of the production for that respected year's New Japan Wrestling event. Because I remember him asking me, and I said, I know I had somebody with me that was interviewing Jeff as well. And I remember at one point, Jeff asked us, are you going to be watching the pay-per-view? And he followed it up with, well, where are you going to be watching it from? And I remember telling him from DC, and he was like, oh, what part in DC? And all of that. But my mind's a little fuzzy right now, but that's the time period I remember. I'm pretty sure I had talked to him. I talked to him twice. I got to go back and check out the logs though. A little bit more information on Brody Lee, who passed away the day after Christmas. As previously reported, Lee passed due to a lung issue, which was not COVID related, as you all know. His wife, Amanda, noted in a post on Instagram that AEW's chief legal officer and senior vice president, Mega Parikh, hopefully that's how you pronounce it, as well as Khan's family's general counsel, were able to get him to the Mayo Clinic. He was taken from the hospital in Tampa, where he and his family lived, via airlift to Jacksonville on October 31st. Even at that time, the diagnosis was said to be bleak, and the odds were always strongly against him, but they had hoped the Mayo Clinic would help. Huber told key people, bear with me a second here. Huber told key people that worked with him in the company on November 7th, but asked him to keep it quiet. The wishes were respected. At the time, it was believed and noted by Jim Ross on the latest episode of his podcast that Lee would have needed a lung transplant, which meant he would have to get on the list. Quality, get a donor, and lungs that were fit for his size. I mean, he kind of stopped and pumped the brakes a little bit. A guy that's about, what, 6'6", 6'7", weighs close to 300 pounds. It's a big boy there. It's not going to be an easy transplant. Now, had the transplant happened, he would have been immunocompromised and would have to take anti-rejection drugs. However, he was never healthy enough to quality once his condition was discovered. So, according to The Observer, it was 2 straight months where those who knew about his condition knew the end was likely inevitable. Ross said during the podcast, "All I know is he had double lung failure. His lungs were so bad that he couldn't qualify for a transplant. So after, as I heard the story, whether it's totally accurate or not, I don't know, that they took him off the machines to see if he could kick himself out, as that's about the only chance he had. It just obviously didn't work. So a sad time for all of us. Again, he impacted so many of us on our roster that kind of went off the radar, and so he'll be missed." Crazy when you hear that. Just crazy when you hear that. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again with the whole Bruce Mitchell and all that other bullshit as far as the conspiracy theories, and I'm not going down that list again. Don't care to go down that rabbit hole. Neither should you guys. Neither should you guys. So let's skip that. Yeah. So Doug Pederson. Let's switch it up a little bit. Doug Pederson fired from the Eagles. Look, my thoughts as far as Doug Pederson getting fired from the Eagles. Who didn't see this coming? After the benching of Jalen Hurts, who, say what you will, I mean, yeah, a couple of little hiccups here and there in that game that he was playing, but he was doing good. You do a questionable 4th down call where all you got to do is just kick a fucking field goal and the game is tied up, and, not for nothing, but defense was actually doing pretty damn good. They were keeping you relatively in the game. All you needed was for Jalen Hurts to just string together a couple of good, successful drives. And, I mean, the guy was doing good. But then, all of a sudden, he gets benched for the 3rd string quarterback who did not look impressive at all. You got Jalen Hurts on the bench saying, "This ain't right. This ain't right." Clear as day on national TV. Motherfucking lip readers, and they put the caption up like to let you know without a shadow of doubt what he was saying. You got him obviously frustrated, irritated, like what the hell? And he's saying, "This ain't right. This ain't right." It was almost like they went out there and you got the defensive lineman, one of them going over to Peterson. What the hell is going on here? What exactly are we doing? What's the game plan here? Because what you're doing right now, it ain't working. And I remember when I was watching that game in real time. I remember when I was watching it in real time with the family. And I'm going, you know what? This is disgusting on so many levels. Because if that game would have been played in Washington, packed fucking packed fucking FedEx Stadium against the Redskins. If that would have been in Washington, I promise you, there would have been fucking boos all over the fucking place. Fucking boos. Not just from, I know I said Redskins, you guys gotta forgive me. I mean, I'm so used to, but Washington from here on out. They would have been booed from everybody. Now, that may sound kind of weird to you when you hear me say that, because you're going, wait a minute, Eagles booed in Washington? Look, there are so many people that live or work in DC that are from Philadelphia, that are from Pittsburgh. They're from somewhere in PA. They either live out here or they work out here. There are people that have some long commutes. Let me tell you. I've gone to enough games of Washington. Over the years, I've known of many friends, definitely family members, colleagues. Man, when it comes to, I guarantee you, and anybody that lives in the nation's capital will tell you the same thing. Anybody that is from the DC metropolitan area, when it comes to Washington, you're going to see an equal amount of Cowboys fans, an equal amount of Philadelphia Eagles fans, and a nice amount of Baltimore Ravens fans. Guaranteed. I don't know what it is, but that's what always happens. Trust me, if that game would have been in Washington in front of a packed audience, Eagles would have been fucking booed. Yeah, sure, the Washington fans, they'd have taken the W, but they'd have made sure they'd have let the Eagles have it. Like, nah, this ain't the Eagles that we've grown accustomed to. When you think about the many battles that Washington has had against the Eagles over the years. Very, very competitive and all. Nah. They would have gotten booed out of the fucking FedEx Stadium. I promise you that. That was very, very disturbing to watch on so many levels, watching that game. Very disturbing to watch. And now you're in this position where it was a very delicate decision, a very delicate position that you had after that game, because you got all these men that are looking up to this coach and Doug Pederson. And can you just imagine that locker room? Can you just imagine the amount of mutiny that was going on among those players? How the fuck can you go into that locker room and say to those men and women, hey, we played our guts out, we gave it our best? No, you can't. No, because when it's all said and done, you really did not put your team in the best position possible to win. So you had not just a great case of mutiny that was going on there, but you also had a case where, all right, you already got Jalen Hurts, who's feeling this ultimate act of betrayal. And now you may have him in a position where he says, you know what? I think I want out of PA. If this is how the Philadelphia organizations is going to continue to operate under Doug Pederson at the helm, then I don't want to have anything to do with this organization. I want to be traded. Yeah, I'm done with this. But then wait a minute. Not only do you have that issue with Jalen Hurts, but then look at your fucking quarterback there. Look at your other quarterback there. And oh God, what's his name? Carson Wentz. You look at what's going on there with Carson Wentz. Like, man, okay, so we never, I mean, that was a real slap in the face. If you were gonna sit down Jalen, okay, fine. Let's go back to Carson. Let's see what Carson can do. Carson, this is your moment. You wanted to step. No, we don't even fucking go and that fucking route. We don't even give We don't even give Carson a chance. We have his ass sit down as well while the third string quarterback fucking plays. So you possibly would have also had a situation there where Carson Wentz would have been like, yeah, you know what? I'm good. I want out. So you had a very difficult, well, actually not really a difficult, because given how Doug Pederson played things out, he pretty much fucked himself out of a job when it's all said and done, at least in my mind. But doing what he did, unfortunately, the Eagles management, the organization, was in a very delicate position where, okay, who are we siding with here? Do we side with our coach that got us a Super Bowl a couple of years ago? Or do we side with the players on this one? And if we do side with the players, we need to be prepared. There's going to be some serious mutiny that's going on, to the point a lot of these players are going to want out. Most likely, they're going to be demanding trades. So what do we do right here? They made the right decision firing Pederson. They just did. They just did. Yeah, I agree with Gino. I agree with Gino. Gino says that the Eagles are trying to rebuild their team. Yeah. And they definitely need a different voice. That's for sure. They need a different voice. You look at every single head coach hired in 2016 that's now been fired. You look at the Eagles, Doug Pederson, 42-37-1. Dolphins, Adam Gase, 23-25. Browns, Hugh Jackson, 3-36-1. 49ers, Chip Kelly, 2-14. Buccaneers, Dirk Cotter, 19-29. Giants, Ben McAdoo, 13-15. Titans, Mike Mularkey, 20-21. So, I mean, you knew this was coming. You knew this was coming. To lose, if you're going to lose to a rival in the Washington football team, okay. But you gave it your best. You played your fucking ass off. That's one thing. But to go out in that type of fashion, right down to the point where you got those wondering, okay, did they do this to kind of set themselves up in the draft there? What when you got the integrity of that defeat being questioned, yeah, man, that's not good. So they did right. They did right in how they handled that. So kudos to them for how they handled that. Now, the other games that came about from Wild Card Weekend. Matter of fact, let me pull up the wild card here. Let me pull that up here. How are we doing on Showtime, by the way? Let me look here. I know I said I'm trying to make the shows a bit tighter. All right, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Let's look at the scores here. I can't remember all the teams right now. Let's look at the scores here. And I'll tell you what I thought about some of those games on Wild Card Weekend. Colts and Bills. Yeah, that was pretty good. Bills getting that one. Yeah, it was kind of in and out. Because if I remember right, I think that was the first game that came on. And I pretty much left out the house right as that game was coming on. Rams taking on Seahawks. I did watch that game. This is the third home playoff loss in team history for the Seahawks. Again, the third home playoff loss in team history for the Seahawks. I mean, this was put up or shut up time. I mean, for Russell Wilson, this was that moment where he needed to prove, okay, you know what? I don't need the Legion of Boom. I don't need the Legion of Boom. I can pretty much go in here and I can get the job done. I can fucking win this. I can do this. They got some. That man needs some help on the offense, I think, but more so defense. He needs a couple of more weapons though. Just from the little bit that I saw this season, yeah, they need a couple of more weapons on offense, but really the defense is what they need. But yeah, they haven't been the same since that Legion of Boom been broken up, man. Buccaneers taking on Washington. Look, let me tell you something. That was a damn good competitive game. A damn good competitive game. I don't even like Washington, and I'm from here. I tolerate them because usually my family, my friends, they fucking like that team. So I pretty much tolerate the team, for those respected reasons. But let me tell you something, man. Even I cannot deny that Washington this season was very competitive. 7-9 record. Let me tell you something. Those 9 losses, it wasn't all fucking up, just blow the fuck, very competitive what I saw of Washington this season. That actually legit makes me okay. I think they might have a good future ahead of them. I think they, oh, bear with me a second here, guys. Shit. Somehow I accidentally turned that on there. Hang on a second. Let me, and I should be good now. I don't know how I did that, but anyway, but no, very competitive from what I saw all season long. I was very, very impressed. And I think I had saw the QBR stats for that one, or I had did some research. It was funny because I was comparing the QBR. That Heineke dude for Washington, very good. Very good. That is a very good quarterback. Here's what I had to say after the game was over. And this was on my Facebook. Here's what I had said. Bear with me here. I said, Washington football team got nothing to be ashamed of. Future bright for them, and they have a decision to make about Taylor Heineke as starter next season and Alex Smith as backup lest he retires. After a rough week in DC, a win would have been nice. And I actually, on my own, I figured out the QBR stats for that one. Check this out. Taylor Heineke completed 26 out of 44 for 306 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, QBR rating of 59. Tom Brady, meanwhile, completed 22 out of 40 passes for 381 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, QBR rating 55. Not bad. I mean, for a guy in Taylor Heineke, that's not bad for a guy who just a couple of weeks ago was studying whatever major at Old Dominion, trying to get his degree, and he gets the call up, hey, you want to come be a backup quarterback for the Washington football team? It's like, yeah, sure. And he makes his debut in a prime time playoff game against the GOAT. Keep in mind, this guy, connections to the XFL. We were just talking about the XFL not that long ago. And he was a understudy slash backup quarterback briefly under Tom Brady in New England. So I mean, yeah, they Ron Rivera's got an interesting decision to make right there. Look, as far as Alex Smith goes, I love that good comeback feel of a story and everything. Who doesn't? But man, I just don't know. This man had 17 surgeries on that leg. 17 surgeries to save that leg. I appreciate the guts. I really do. I appreciate the guts that it took for him to, first and foremost, get his livelihood back. Do what he could to save that leg. But then, okay, is the impossible possible? Can I play? Nobody's ever going to take away from him what all he's been able to accomplish. Nobody's ever going to take that away from him. But he's got a family to think about. He's got young kids that he needs to think about. And I'm sorry, but man, that leg of his is always, that leg is never truly going to be 100% the same. Let's be real. Right? because keeping it honest, keeping it insightful, keeping it interactive. That's been our motto since 2011. Let's be honest. That leg of his is never going to be the same. We've heard about some of the issues he's been having with that leg this season, which is why he hasn't even been playing. It's been a cautionary thing. I don't care if you give him a full season of rest on that leg. That man is just never going to be the same. And anybody that is on defense, that's always going to be a target. Always going to be a target, especially in this day and age where it's a case of, hey, no helmet to helmet, no late legal blows and all that other shit. He's always going to be subject. So I hope that he does the right thing and thinks about his family first and foremost. And hopefully he's done his very best to save his money and all that. And honestly, just move on. I think he would have, from the interviews that I've seen him give, I think he would have a really good career as a broadcast analyst. So personally, I hope he thinks about the family. I mean, if that were me, and I'm having the problems that I'm having with that leg right now, yeah, I'm thinking about that analyst job right about now. So Brady advancing. Bucks looking good, man. Them Bucks are looking good. I gotta say, them Bucks are looking good. Ravens, Lamar Jackson and crew defeating the Titans 20-13. Lamar Jackson finally, when it counted the most, can Lamar win that big one? You know, when it counts the most. We've seen what this guy's been able to string along these first 2 seasons, but can he, when it counts the most? I have seen such great maturity in Lamar Jackson all season long when I've been watching the Baltimore Ravens, and to just see the progression this young man has been able to make at the quarterback position. I love it. I love it. What I saw at first was a young man that seemed a little bit rattled, that kind of seemed as though he was having a bit of a hard time really finding his identity, and I think a large part, some of these guys at the end of the day, some of these athletes, they're tuning into the radio shows, they're tuning into the talk shows, they're reading those newspapers, they're seeing what's being said about them, and that shit gets in there. That shit has a way of fucking with the psyche, especially if you're a young man and you just are now coming into responsibility and all that. And yeah, those first couple of years, you definitely saw him be rattled a little bit. But boy, I tell you, this season, he's really strung it together. And he put on a fucking masterpiece as far as I was concerned against the Titans. Beautiful fucking masterpiece. They move on. I can't wait to see what they are going to be able to do. Probably the shocker of the night for me. Shocker game out of the wild card weekend. Bears, Saints. That was just, actually, no, that wasn't a shocker for me. Actually, no, I'm gonna take that back. That wasn't really a shocker for me. That kind of went exactly how I was expecting it to go, actually. So Drew Brees, I'm a big sucker for Drew Brees. Love Drew Brees. This could be it. This could be it for Drew Brees. More on that in a hot second. But the real shocker, this is a legit shocker. Steelers, Browns. Browns defeating the Steelers 48-37. As far as I was concerned, the Browns, that is, they proved to me what I honestly felt for a long time, which is, nah, the Steelers got all these wins and they're hardly getting losses. Nah, they ain't no legit. They ain't that tough of a team. Like, no. And what's really sad about this is, I like Mike Tomlin. I love Mike Tomlin. I told you guys many times, if I was an NFL player and there's one coach I could just go, bam, I want to play for that guy, I'd love to play for Mike Tomlin. But just going back to when they had the Steelers, that is, when they had that little undefeated record there this season for a hot minute, I think that was just it was false. It was false. And that's the one thing that I love about the playoffs, especially when it comes to the NFL. You will be exposed. Hands down, you will be exposed. And Browns fucking exposed the hell out of the Steelers. Not to mention they had a little bit of payback that they had in mind on the fucking Steelers. You saw what Juju had said about the fucking Browns there. And man, you talk about eating a big old slice of humble fucking pie. They fucking ate a big old slice of fucking humble pie in that one. That was just a crazy start. To see it at one point get up to 28-0. I remember at one point, I think I got up to the fourth quarter, and I think there was about maybe 10 minutes left. And I just said, yeah, you know what? This game is over. We're good. We're good. That was at that point I actually turned on the movie. I said, forget this. I'm good. That was wow. That was wow for me. You know, I know a lot of people are going, you know what, man? Mike Tomlin, he needs to be fired. Fuck Mike Tomlin. Boy, that's pretty harsh to go that route. I don't know, guys. I don't know about that one. I'm a little conflicted on that one. I teach it on. I'm a little conflicted on that one. I don't know if you fire Mike Tomlin. I don't know if that's going to solve all the problems that. I don't know. I mean, give me a good argument on why Mike Tomlin should be fired. That would be my rebuttal, and convince me otherwise. But I think that's kind of drastic, very very extreme. All right, so Saturday, January 16th, these are the games that's going down. We got Chargers taking on Green Bay. I'm liking Green Bay. Ravens are going to be taking on the Bills. I'm liking the Ravens. Browns are going to be taking on the Chiefs. Oof. Man, Baker been on a roll, man. I'm telling you. How can I pick against my homeboy, though? Come on now. I got to go with Mahomes. Bucks, Saints, Brady, Brees. For perhaps the last time. This is equivalent to Brady, Manning. The good Manning, mind you. the good one. Tough call, yo. Tough call. God damn. I really want Drew Brees to get this. I really want him to get that one more Super Bowl, because I feel in my heart of hearts that this is it for him. I don't feel as though he's coming back next season. I think this is his last hurrah. I'm looking at Brady. Man, wouldn't that be something? Just to get to the Super Bowl. Win or lose at the Super Bowl. To just be able to say you got your team to the Super Bowl. That proves to me and a lot of other folks that, yeah, it really was you that was holding up things in New England all those years. It really was you. I'm on the fence, man. Seriously, I'm on the fence. I think it's going to come down to... God, I don't know, guys. It's still early, too, man. It's still fucking early. We got plenty of time. I'll offer my picks on that one later, but... So obviously, as a result, I can't even talk about the Super Bowl. That's the sad part. I can't even talk about the Super Bowl now. So cliffhanger for you guys. But yeah, some good action that we got for football games that's going to be coming on this weekend. Looking forward to checking out those games. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a little watch party or something when it comes to those games. Rough week that we've had with the Capitol Rioters that was going on and all that. I didn't get a chance to talk about that. I'm going to talk about it a lot more on Patreon for our audience. I will say this, though. It was heartbreaking. Because I remember that respected Wednesday. I remember when I got to work, I had a couple of people say to me, "Did you see what happened?" And I said, "Oh, I heard, a little something that was going on." And they were like, "No, no, 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 no. Don't hear, see." That's what a lot of them were telling me. And they were like, "It's heartbreaking. You will cry when you see what happened today." I'm like, "Really?" Like, "Yeah, it's that sad." So I get home from work and I, you know, I always have the news on my DVR, the local news. So I'm checking it out. I'm watching Brian Williams' 11th Hour. I'm checking that out. Soul was crushed. I felt embarrassed to be an American. I felt embarrassed to actually be from DC. Um, I felt anger at the same time because I knew that the people that were doing what they were doing were not from here. This place that has been my home for a couple of decades now, I've embraced it, its culture, its people, and they've taken me in with open arms. You know, so I was very mad at the people that basically came to my home turf and did what they did. And I wanted justice. And to the people that lost their lives, no lives should have been lost during that event. No lives should have been lost. From that wasn't even protest. Angry mob. Just let's not even call them protests. I know some people are throwing terrorists. Let's just call them assholes. That's what that was. Those were just assholes. Those were not protesters. They were assholes. But despite them being assholes, to hear that one of those assholes lost their lives. I know about the one woman that went through the fucking glass door and pop, 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 pop goes by mine. Pop, pop goes through, bullets go through her. I'm watching this and I just couldn't help but say, what did you think was going to happen? Did you think you were going to be able to just bust that fucking glass, go through there, and a motherfucker wasn't going to put a couple of hot ones in you? Did you actually think nothing was going to happen? But no lives should have been lost as far as I was concerned. But, lives were lost to the men and women that were in uniform and, they legit tried to defend. I mean, hey, mad respect and everything. I do believe that there was a serious lack of communication. And as I always have been saying on this show, self-accountability, it goes all the way around. You guys know by now there's been a couple of resignations that's come about. Hopefully even more comes about. But it was heartbreaking to see and hear. I also ended up having a smile on my face by the end of the week because, again, this is a place that I've made my home for decades now. And to see the residents that live here be as frustrated as I am and angry come together and say, okay, well, what can we do to make sure that these men and women are held accountable for what they did to our home turf? To see people just come together on social media, share the images. We had one local guy, he thought of this cool ass idea where, hey, do not rent DC, where basically, hey, don't give these motherfuckers any Airbnbs. Don't give them a hotel. Don't give them this. Don't give them that because they're wanted by, like, yeah, fuck yeah. And at the same time, asking for those that have the, Airbnbs, B&B, what all that stupid fucking initials and all that, bring them to justice and all that. And we saw a lot of people that stood up when it counted the most and shared great tips. We saw a lot of these people got arrested, motherfuckers on a plane, travel ban, couldn't fucking. So I love it. And you got these motherfuckers that are crying like assholes now, crying like little bitches. It's like, no, 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 no. Man the fuck up. Man the fuck up. You knew exactly what you were doing. Exactly what you were doing. And now you have to pay the price. You know, you did good when you were outside on the grounds with your little signs, holding it up in the air. You were good from that standpoint. But once you decided you were going to go into the Capitol, all right, now it's on. Now, number one, you're doing trespass. Now you're doing some form of vandalism. All right, well, you just up the ante even more. You're destroying property within the Capitol. Oh, okay, well, we're way past protesting now. Way past. When you're physically beating the crap, I know you guys have seen the footage, when you're beating the crap out of a police officer who's just doing his job. He's trying to maintain the peace. He's trying to maintain order. And when you're beating the shit out of him, yeah, you're crossing the line. And you don't think we're supposed to fucking excuse me, you don't think we're supposed to put you in fucking handcuffs and extradite you back to so you can face our judicial system? Ninja, please, is all I gotta say. So I'm I get that, but it's not gonna replace the lives on both sides that were lost. Trust me, look, y'all know I did security at one point. I got about maybe over 12 years security experience. When I saw everything that went down initially, way before more information was released, I'm going, how could this go down from a security standpoint? Somebody dropped the ball here. Why wasn't this initiated? Why wasn't this? Why wasn't that? Why wasn't this? Why wasn't that? So for an average Joe like me to be able to ask all these questions, like, what the fuck? We got the president now issuing an emergency declaration for the inaugural. So that's good. That's good. What that basically means out here in DC, police say there will be no public access to the grounds of the U.S. Capitol for the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden. Acting U.S. Capitol Police Chief Pittman says in a statement Monday that officials have comprehensive, coordinated plans in place to ensure the safety and security of both Congress and Biden's inauguration on January 20th. She says that the grounds to the Capitol will be closed to the public. The inauguration is a ticketed event. And you're like, okay, that's good. Also, as a result of this declaration, it allows the Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Emergency Management Agency to coordinate with the local authorities as needed. This is honestly something that should have been initiated last week, but now it's happening after the fact. But trust me, I think that as far as tourism to the nation's capital, it's never going to be the same. It's never going to be the same. To see the mom and pop businesses, those that are still around, mind you, it's not going to be the same. There's going to be a lot of businesses. I don't think they'll ever come back after seeing all this shit that had went down. They have had to face some type of form of vandalism time and time again within recent years. And not from the BLM, not from the Black Lives Matter movement, but from individuals that are not from the DC metropolitan area that are coming here looking to cause havoc, mischief. But I think tourism and all that, I think is going to change in a very drastic way, sadly. And it's sad that it's gotten to that point. And it shouldn't have taken an event like what went down last week to, you feel where I'm coming from? But yeah, that's where my head is right now, in regards to all of that. One last update I want to give to you guys, and then we're definitely going to roll out on this note because we've pretty much gone all over the place. Number one, if you haven't done so already, there's a great 7-minute clip of Arnold Schwarzenegger reflecting on everything that came about from this past Wednesday. I would implore you guys, especially if you're a fan of Schwarzenegger and you've yet to go out of your way to see that clip, look it up. It's very powerful, very emotional. He talks about stuff that happened in his childhood. I wasn't even aware that happened to him. And, I forget how old Schwarzenegger is. I forgot this is a guy that was born in the late 1940s. I'm having a hard time believing that. But yeah, he was born in the late 1940s. And just the way he is able to bring about what he saw and experienced and learned from, his family and all that to what went down with the Capitol, the eerie similarities of it. Go out of your way, check that out. Very eye-opening experience. It really does open your mind up quite a lot. You'll watch it twice. That's how powerful it is. The other piece of news I want to share with you guys. So it looks like that girl that assaulted that fucking 14-year-old kid at that Arlo hotel, she's finally been apprehended. Good. Good is what I have to say. That's fucking good. I'm speechless right now because this 22-year-old girl, she's got a lot of growing up to do, and she's got to grow up real fucking quick. And I think at this point, she needs to be shown some tough fucking love. Maya Ponzetto, 22 years of age, from California. She was arraigned on Saturday evening on charges of attempted assault, endangering the welfare of a child, attempted robbery, and attempting grand larceny, according to the charging documents. She was arrested, and looks like this past week on Thursday, about 2 weeks after the black jazz musician Keon Harold, posted the video, getting the widespread attention and all that. That's pretty much finally, all those weeks later, oh great, now we finally got the damn girl. Now, according to a woman by the name of, I want to make sure I get her name correctly here. Bear with me a second here. Let me see if I can. She's a Manhattan DA spokeswoman, Naomi Pozzello. She had emailed CNN, and apparently, check this out. This is why I'm saying what I'm saying about this girl needing to get some tough love shown to her. Looks like she's got some serious history with the law already. She was charged in February of last year with intoxication after she, her mother, and another person were involved in a physical altercation at a hotel. How convenient. In late May last year, she was charged with driving under the influence and driving with a suspended license. She was charged with driving under the influence again in early October, along with driving on a suspended license and resisting arrest. Marinate on all that. We're going to come back to that in a hot minute. Now, as part of this go round, she was released, but some asterisks by that. She's not allowed to have contact with the victims in this case, and she must appear at all her scheduled court dates for the unrelated open cases in California. Now, the Manhattan DA Pozzello, she pointed out that despite the widespread news coverage, Ponzetto never made an effort to surrender herself to authorities. So even after she got identified and you know, the right thing to do, all right, let me go face this, because it's not like how people are saying it is. Heat of the moment type of shit, yada, yada, yada. Nah, she didn't surrender herself to authorities. So you guys may be wondering, well, Lee, how exactly was this girl eventually apprehended? She was located and contacted by police during a traffic stop, prosecutor said. She refused to exit her vehicle and she tried to slam her car door on an officer. Now, she did appear on the CBS Morning News broadcast again last week. Had a sit-down interview with Gayle King, remote, with her attorney. One line that she said in this: how would you feel if you were alone in New York and you knew you were going to spend time with your family during the holidays and you lose the one thing that gets stolen from you that has all of the access to the only way that you'll be able to get back home? And to that, Gayle King pretty much said, oh, yeah, but, you know, at the same time, you know, you're 22 years of age, you know better. And she pretty much threw her hand up, shushed Gayle King, said, okay, Gayle, enough. Word for word, just like that. So we see this pattern here that's going on with this girl. So now you hear why I'm saying what I'm saying as far as our judicial system at this point. They need to show this girl some tough love. Now, see, you know, one thing that if I was the prosecution, one thing that I would be trying to establish here is, okay, let's build upon her character. We got the Gayle King interview in which she essentially buried herself, right? Related to what she did at the Arlo Hotel. How she handled things when police were stopping her for a routine traffic stop. And boy, did that escalate pretty quickly. So you've got that. You got all the other shit that went down last year. I mean, that's enough to build a character profile and, you know, really point out that, hey, you know, she's been given opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. How many more opportunities is this girl going to be given before she takes somebody's life? Because that's what we're playing around with here. And let me tell you something. It don't get any real than what I'm about to put out to you guys right now. I remember, my God, I wish my girl were still awake right now, because we'd be going back and forth with you guys talking about this. There was a girl about the age of this chick. I want to say about 2, maybe 3 months ago, just down our street, about 2-3 months ago. She's in this car. She's driving about at least 90 miles an hour. Now, where she's driving from, it's like, okay, you're not supposed to do that. Like, no. That particular route, no. But somehow this broad decides she's gonna fucking go almost 90 miles an hour. She loses control of the car, and she basically, I don't know how she did it, y'all. Somehow she jumps out of her lane, goes into the opposite lane, so to speak, crashes into the car on the other side. You know, it's going its correct lane, but, you know, now she's on the opposite side. She's on the opposite lane, and she crashes into that fucking car. And, yeah, her and the guy that she had riding shotgun with her, they're both now dead. And what we learned about her was, according to her rap sheet, this girl she kept getting in trouble with the law for intoxication, driving behind the wheel, intoxicated, driving without a suspended license, and wouldn't you know it, this go round, she was driving intoxicated yet again. She was driving on a suspended license, so the broad had no business driving. And it cost her life, and it sadly cost the guy, I think it was a boyfriend, baby daddy, or something like that. But it cost both of them their lives. Luckily, the true innocent people that were on the other side, minding their own business, they got out okay. A little banged up, but they got out okay. So, what I hear that's going on with this girl right now, that's the path that she's going down. And if she's not careful, and let me tell you something, one eerie thing that happened with regards to the girl that pretty much killed herself and took out her man and all that, there was this real fucked up video that she put out minutes before all this shit went down. I bullshit you not. She put this video out where she was bragging about, how she just got her drink on, and she basically was saying, fuck it, I'm gonna live like there's no tomorrow or some shit like that. And it's like, oh honey, you silly fucking fool. Seriously, you silly fucking fool. So when I look at this girl, I think about that situation that resulted in those deaths. And if she keeps playing this roulette game, that's the hand she's ultimately going to be dealing to herself. So I hope that the prosecution, I really hope that, not just in California, but also in New York as well, I really hope that they give her some hard, tough love. And look, I hope that they're able to give her some type of jail time. But then even at that, she has displayed, as far as I'm concerned, the lack of maturity in being behind the wheel. I think that for a period of 10 years, her license needs to be suspended. It just does. For 10 years, her license needs to be suspended. And if she is caught behind the wheel illegally, boom, instantly go to jail. No questions asked. I mean, hands down, just boom, instantly goes to jail. And that should be some type of a statewide ban. I don't even know if that's even possible. Like if she thinks, okay, well, that's in this state, I can just, I don't know if they operate that way, but there somehow needs to be a statewide ban that she cannot operate any motor vehicle for the next fucking 10 years. But this is one of those entitled fucking brats. You look at the parents and you just wonder, what the fuck? How did you guys fail this fucking girl? Seriously. How did you fail this kid? And yet they did. Somehow they did. Let me tell you something. What would you do when you lost your phone and all your... Well, most people got enough common sense to back up their entire shit to a cloud. So if something like that were to happen, all they got to do is go to a library, or if they happen to be staying at a hotel, or, go to Office Depot or whatever, they can print out what they need to do. And, then you got some folks that's kind of like me. I'm a bit old school. You ever heard of a little mini notepad? Case of an emergency, you write down a couple of emergency contacts, all that good stuff, and you're pretty much good to go. I will tell you, I think man and woman has gotten too reliant on technology, and it ultimately will be their fucking downfall. I remember a time where y'all remember as well. I remember a time where you used to be able to just take a fucking, I'm going to call blah, blah, blah. I'm going to call this person. I'm going to call that person. And you had all these phone numbers that's in your fucking head. That's how we were taught when we were kids growing up. We knew, good amount of phone numbers to call off the top of our head. We knew how to call our grandmother, or, if we needed money, we knew how to call this person. We knew all that shit. All that shit. Yeah, we've gotten too comfortable with the technology that's running around these days. I mean, you really stop and think about it. We're now able to take our phones and we're now able to bloop, pay for shit, and, keep it moving along and all that. Yeah. Yeah. And when it counts the most, you take away that phone, what is a man or what is a woman? They're nothing. So I'm sorry, but if you're gonna be going to another state and all that other shit, common fucking sense, number one, you want to make sure you got your fucking device on you at all times. You in a Uber, you on a train or wherever. First of all, you're always supposed to make sure that you get yourself into a habit of always checking to make sure that you got your personal belongings before you leave any fucking where. But then even at that, you want to make sure that if something weird were to happen, you got some type of a backup, be it a little notepad or whatever. That way you will be able to do what you fucking need to do and take it from there. So, and the shit about her saying that, she's not racist, she's Puerto Rican. I'm sorry, but hey, I got friends that's black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, that's cool and everything, but look, just because you're a Puerto Rican, it doesn't mean that you're not racist. Sadly, there are some Puerto Ricans, there are some Hispanics that do not get along with blacks. For whatever respected reason, there are Hispanics that do not get along with blacks. You can't tell me differently. I've seen it with my own two eyes in the 20-something plus years, actually in almost 30 years that I've lived in the nation's capital. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I experience it every day in my neighborhood on my way to and from work. So you can't tell me differently. It's not every single Hispanic person that treats me like shit, but there's a decent amount of fucking Hispanic people that treat blacks like shit. Just as how there are Africans that treat blacks like shit. Black Americans like shit. There are Chinese that treats blacks like shit. Even if one were to put okay, so you're not racist. Even if one was to pull that to the side. All right, so you may not be racist, but you lack maturity. You attack the kid. You attack the little kid. Come on. What's your excuse for that? Don't try to play the fucking sympathetic victim fucking card. Take some fucking self-accountability. And I tell you what, this girl is just continuing to hang her fucking self, and she's doing a phenomenal fucking job. I hope that she continues to do her little interviews and all that. Keep digging that ditch. Keep digging that ditch. You're fucking giving the prosecution enough fucking ammo to fucking bury your ass. Cause yeah, she may look cute, but the personality that she's putting out there is very fucking ugly, and that never goes far. That never fucking goes far. So keep you guys posted on that. Yeah, that Harold family though, by the way, they also got a petition up. They're still trying to have that hotel, that Arla hotel, be held accountable for how they handle things, and they're trying to get enough petitions together that they can send to the owner of the hotel chain to take appropriate action. And look, I'm surprised that here we are on January 12th now. I'm surprised that the owner of that hotel chain has not removed, because I looked at his name and apparently he's an immigrant. So at least that's how it comes off when I read his name. He seems like, I don't know if he's Italian or what was it? I don't know if he's Italian or no, I'm gonna go with it. If he's not Italian, I don't know if he's Indian. He kind of had, I looked at his name, I just glanced at it and I was like, oh, that doesn't look like a straight up, born from America name. Like, interesting. So the fact that this owner has not stepped up to the plate by now, I would have thought by now that manager, Chad, at that specific Arlo hotel where the incident was in question, I'd have thought that motherfucker would have been out of a job by now. That motherfucker, as far as I know, unless y'all tell me differently, that motherfucker apparently still has a job. That's got to change. That's got to fucking change. But yeah, if you guys are interested in that petition, it's pretty easy to find online. So check it out when you guys get a chance. But God, kind of glad that girl is not my fucking daughter, man. Because I'm telling you, if that was my daughter, I would not give a shit. I would beat her fucking ass. I would beat some goddamn humbled pie into her, some fucking respect. I'd have mom tag team on her ass too, cause that is the ultimate example of how not to raise your kid right. Seriously, I hope she gets everything that's coming to her. But other than that, we did pretty good. That was a lot of stuff we got into on this episode. I didn't mind having a little bit of a deluxe show for you guys, so I hope you guys appreciate it. It's not always gonna be like this. Trying to do my best to make sure we do tighter shows. But that was a lot of stuff that we had to get into. You know, after all, we were technically on vacation last week and everything. So look, programming notes as far as it goes right now. Patreon, you guys are definitely actually, let me come back to Patreon in a hot second. There's definitely going to be a new Impact Showdown. I am going to be recording that, and I'll have that dropping probably by Wednesday night. So stay tuned for that. And then for our Patreon audience, there's going to be some new content that's going to be dropping this week as well. I don't know if it's going to be a Wrestling with the Topics and or a 30 with Lee episode, but you're definitely going to be getting something this week. So tune in for that. And then we're going to have the Hard to Kill pay-per-view event. That's going to be happening this Saturday. I'm going to do my best to make sure I have the hookup for you guys that are interested in that pay-per-view event. We'll do a little watch along in Discord. And I will be talking about the pay-per-view event after it goes off the air. So tune in for that. That's going to be on Saturday night, January the 16th. I know we got AEW and NXT this week. Patreon audience, you guys will definitely get my thoughts on this week's AEW and NXT. Again, Patreon. Check it out. Patreon.com/RCWR show. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. You stuck around with me this long, especially for the live edition. Mad love, mad shout out to you guys as always. As you make your exit, make sure you hit the like button, share. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. Helps out a ton. Check out the shows on demand on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. Audio version of this, I'm not going to be releasing until Tuesday night. Once I get situated from work and everything. All right. Until next go round, as always, and I can't stress it enough now more than ever, especially with regards to the crazy shit that we had there in 2020 and the crazy start that we're having right now in 2021. Please be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. Y'all do take care.